Here we go. We're live. Hi, everybody. Pugs Moran from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios here at RadioMisfits.com. Every day, talk for the normal-minded, nonpartisan, working-class American. We ain't rich. We ain't poor. Well, I am. I'm quite poor, to be honest. I don't know how I became the spokesman for this movement, but, well, self-appointed. That's how. I mean, let's be honest. I just say it because that's the world we live in. The social media world where you just say something and it's true because you said it enough. We'll get into a whole bunch of stuff that concerns that very issue. Let's see. Thunder. We got to talk about this. So here in the Chicago area, the south side of Chicago, stand up. Ugh. I don't know if I want to get distracted by that, but the guy who calls White Sox games, his name is John Schriffen. He's not terrible. He's not terrible. He's fine. It's just that he replaced a guy that we all liked in Jason Benetti, and it's just anyway. At the end of games, he's got this very performative kind of thing that he says at the end of White Sox games, and it's just cringy. It's South Side stand up, and we all go, no. Oh, that's so forced. Oh, you're trying too hard, kid. Just be yourself. Anyway, thunderstorms, tornado warnings, watches, all of that good stuff rolling through here today. I got the window open. Well, by that I mean the blinds. You can see a little bit of light shining through. I left those open because, I don't know, I just love it. Well, I've said this many times. This is like my favorite kind of day, favorite kind of morning. I sat here. I was up early. I was up at like 7:45. I'm down here. I was supposed to do something with Rob, but we'll get to that. You know, Rob in the chat room. Witch Kitty. But you know, things happen. But I was up early and it was raining all morning and it was gray and I'm hearing the pitter patter on the window behind me. Oh, it just puts me in a mood. I know I am naturally depressive, so maybe that plays into it. Like my happy place. You want to know honestly what my happy place is? My happy place is, and it doesn't matter what the situation is, but my happy place is waking up, hearing rain and thunder outside, and then rolling right back over and going right back to sleep. That's my happy place. That's like, you know, other people are like, my happy place is jumping out of an airplane at third. I'm like, what? No, man, I'm simple. My happy place is just going, yeah, I'm just going to go back to sleep. Explains a lot, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Really does, kind of. Anyway, I'm also depressive, so maybe that's why these kinds of days just really tweak my knobs in a good way. I love it. It's dark, it's gloomy, it's raining, there's lightning, and there's thunder. We might lose power. Oh, how exciting. Anyway, that's what we have going on here. And it's another one of these famous Lake Michigan 2 storms in a row. We get this one. It's just kind of moving through right now. We had the early morning storm and then the 4 p.m. storms. Oh, they're supposed to be the big ones. But isn't that always the case? It's always the one that's coming next that is the big one. And then when it's not, they go, it just missed us. NFL draft experts and weathermen. 2 jobs with zero accountability. Zero accountability. You can be horribly wrong. We all just move on. Anyway, that's what we're dealing with over here on this side of the world. Hope where you are, it's, pleasing to you, right? I don't know if that means sunny and beautiful or what. Say hi to the chat room. We've got, as I say, the world's friendliest live streaming chat room every day. Love my people, my little chickens. We award a podium type award, I guess. I don't know, the podium, like in F1, you reward the first, the second, and the third place person. They get up on the podium, they drink out of the comically oversized champagne bottle, and you know, pretty girls in skin tight suits with large cleavage give them kisses. Oh, so who's today's podium here? The first 3 people into the chat room, we've got ho ho ho. Looks like a ladies first kind of day. It's April, Taronda, and Barney. Barney, because we just need a little bit of testosterone on this podium today. Thank you, folks. That's our podium. April, Taronda, and Barney. Also doing some cleaning. Terrible. It's week 2 of Pledge Week. We need your pledges. We need you to help support this kind of talk radio and help ensure that we can go for another month, because right now it ain't looking good. Okay, here's the deal. We need to get to 450. We're at 289. We're at 289. We need to get to 450 by the end of the week. Can we do it? I don't know. It would take record-breaking pledge days from the 20 diehards that I have. To that end, we do like to thank our people. These are our Pledge Week heroes today. We've got a new one, Leslie C. Thank you so much, Leslie. You tipped the show yesterday. We went 3 days without any tips. You came through, you dropped something, and we couldn't be happier. Thank you. Leslie C. is added to the list of Pledge Week heroes alongside the likes of Tracy D. Can't forget her. Peter. Barney times 2 now. Barney. Thank you. Mama B. My God, she's relentlessly consistent. That's thank you, Mama B. Heidi. I'm not supposed to talk too much about that one, but geez Louise, can we just say? And Peter again, and of course, Auntie April. Thank you, everybody who have donated so far, but we've got about 175, let's say. I don't know. I can't do the math because it's depressing, but we've got about 100. We got just under $200 left to go, and it's harder than ever. All right, enough about that. If you do want to contribute, all you got to do is drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App, and it would be, as I say, greatly appreciated. Got a lot to talk about today. So mad, yes. I'm not mad. I'm just like, why am I not getting traction? So half of the stories that we talked about yesterday on this show, we have to bring back now again today, because yesterday when I talked about them, they hadn't yet become a part of the national conversation, right? I talked about them and I'm like, here's what's going on. And then I move on. And then I watch 24 hours of news, and everything we talked about yesterday on this show is now apparently a headline today. I don't know how that happens. I mean, I look at stuff the way other people do. So we've got to revisit a whole bunch of stuff that we already weighed in on yesterday, like the Major League Baseball versus the Bible situation. We talked about that yesterday. I thought everything was clear, but no. So we're going to talk about how the facts concerning that situation are being manipulated for both political and religious gain. And it's gross. It's gross. What else we got to talk about? We're going to bring something else back. What else are we bringing back that's suddenly a big story today? We've got some resolution. A couple of weeks ago, I told you about here in Chicago. We had a dude burn a cross in Grant Park. What are you, nuts? That ain't a Chicago thing. Anyway, it was a big deal. We showed you the picture of the guy. I had a theory. I'll refresh you on what my theory was of what had happened. And then we know what happened now. We'll tell you the whole story. You see how wrong I was. I was wrong. I was wrong. But we'll talk about it. All right. So we got to get into that. But what is the other thing? There was another thing. Okay. So there was the Major League Baseball thing that we wanted to bring back because, the UFC terror plot. Talked about that yesterday too. And then all of a sudden, that's like the main headline this morning. There was a terror plot. Yeah, well, we talked about it on the rant for a good 20 minutes yesterday. Okay. But we do have more. So I'm happily going to revisit that. We know who the people were. Yesterday, we saw the picture of that dude. Remember that, just showed you the picture of the guy they busted in Ohio? He's like 19, but he looks like a hard 45. 19. Anyway, they got more. They got more of them. They're out there in California. So we'll talk about them. We'll talk about the whole conspiracy as we learn more. We'll talk about the fight that is occurring between the Secret Service and the FBI concerning the revelation of this attack. So we'll go into all of that. We'll bring that one back as well. Also, here's the other story from yesterday that we have to bring back and revisit and re-talk about because it has spurred a debate that I just can't believe it. Yesterday, see, hold on. I got to go back to the page. I was off the page for a long time and I had no idea if the sound had gone up. All right. So the phrase goes without saying, right? That was always, when I was talking yesterday, when we broke down the video of the guy who was harassing the girl dad who took his daughter into the women's room, and it caused a whole kerfuffle. By the way, we now have resolution on that. We know who that guy is, and we also now have a raging online debate that yesterday I didn't even approach because I assumed goes without saying. But no, we exist in a world now where nothing goes without saying. So we're going to have to address that. It goes without saying that you don't want to bring two little girls into a urinal-laden men's truck stop bathroom. I thought that goes without... No, apparently it doesn't. So we'll get into that absurd debate by a bunch of weirdos. Yeah. So 3 things. The Major League Baseball, Bible burning. We got to talk about the guy who brought the kid into the bathroom. And something else. There's something else, too, that we got to bring back. We're going to talk about the cross burning. Yeah, we'll start out with a little bit on the Iran deal. Like a couple of facts. Like this morning, I'm not right, I'm not left. I'm just looking at this going, wait, what? And how much is gas still? So I did some facts, and I do some facts. I did some facts. I looked up some facts. I looked up some things to try and break through the noise, the left-right noise, some facts about the deal. So we'll go through that. What is true and what is just absolute bullshit? Goes without saying. Now, nothing goes without saying anymore because people will exploit the loophole. Well, you never said. Stop it. So disingenuous. Reflecting pool. we got to talk about the reflecting pool. That's a funny story to me because it's got all the best people stirred up. I love it. We'll talk about the reflecting pool. Do you know about this? The Lincoln Memorial. We paid money to have it made perfect. And of course, the contractor, Trump, who did the job, oversold what it was going to be. And now it ain't what he said. And we're the people with the new pool in our backyard that isn't what it was supposed to be. And he's like, but. Anyway, it's funny. And by the way, before we get into the whole reflecting pool thing, let me just tell you, I don't have the people who are like, what's he spending $14 million on the reflecting pool for? Well, because that's kind of the shit that needs to be done. It's just maintenance. What the fuck? Like, this isn't a problem that, he's got a fund to beautify Washington for our 250th birthday. That's not something that, the people who are screaming about it now would have had a problem with if it was Biden or if it was Obama or if it was Bush or anybody. It just, they're nitpicking shit. The president is allowed to have it. Well, usually it's the first lady, right? Like if this was the first lady's initiative to beautify Washington, D.C., that would be a thing. But, he's the builder in chief, so he's in charge of all this stuff. So I just want to say on the record, I don't have a problem with them trying to fix or beautify our monuments. My God, that's kind of the part of us being America. And I swear to God, if we are pretending like as a nation we are so destitute that we can't afford maintenance and upkeep on our national monuments, then, then what are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know that we're that bad yet. All right, so we'll get into the reflecting pool story, which I am just fascinated by. As I said, we got some videos. Yeah, we're going to do an 80. We do 3 videos. I like to show you 3 videos at the end of the show, 3 videos that are going viral, and we just kind of enjoy them, break them down. We've got 3 videos, 1980s edition. That's right, sort of. All right, here's the thing. I found 2 videos, and they were both like 80s-centric. They were like 80s thing. I'm like, oh, okay. All I need to do is find a third one. So I found a third one. But it's 90s. It's 90s centric, I think. I think I can make a case for it being 80s, but it's 90s centric. But whatever. Anyway, we're going to do a decade themed 3 videos. And then we're going to end the show like we always do with another visit to the old ballpark. Can't beat fun at the old ballpark. That's right. I'm Baseball Johnny, and I'm trying to just, keep up my level of enthusiasm for baseball after what I witnessed last night. Oh my God. So Can't Beat Fun at the Old Ballpark is basically just we show something that has happened at one of our ballparks with minor league experience, major league, little league, doesn't matter. Fun at the old ballpark. That's how we end every show. On an upbeat, I got one today that's really good. I got one today that I love. It just seems so real and so natural and at the same time completely fake, but it's not. It's great. Anyway, can't beat fun at the old ballpark coming up today, one that I'm excited about. Yeah, my baseball team, whew, that's going to happen from time to time when you've got 12 rookies. It's going to, man. All right, so I've been keeping you abreast on my Chicago White Sox. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. My first place, Chicago White Sox. I said it wrong. My Chicago White Sox are in the middle of, or quite frankly, at the tail end of what everybody was like, oh, you're going into a meat grinder of a schedule, right? A meat grinder of a schedule. It's the Philadelphia Phillies, followed by the Atlanta Braves, followed by the Los Angeles Dodgers, followed by the New York Yankees, right? That's a meat grinder for any team. If you're a team and you think you're good, but you played nothing but bums, which by the way, the White Sox haven't. The White Sox have already played the Rays. They've already played the Padres. The Cubs, which I know doesn't mean as much as it did before. But the White Sox have my team, the worst team in baseball 2 years ago, the worst team in baseball history 2 years ago, 3 years in a row with 100 losses. My team is legitimately good. And no one can say, well, they played a meatball schedule the first quarter of the season. No, we played a really tough schedule and we are in first place, okay? And by the way, that meat grinder that I told you about, the Phillies, the Braves, the Dodgers, and now the Yankees, well, they went 2-1 against the Phillies. They went 2-0 against the Braves, and they went 2-1 against the Dodgers. So we were very excited to get our feet into the American League and test our mettle against the absolute best, and that would be the New York Yankees. Well, that didn't go well. That was not good last night. Started out good. Started out like a pitcher's duel. It was like, oh, this is two of the best pitchers in baseball, Garrett Cole and Davis Martin. We're like, this is going to be great. And then it wasn't. So, okay. So here's what we do in baseball. We play 162 of these. We just forget about it and we move on and we win tonight in the Bronx. Let's go Southside. Southside, stand up. No, I won't say it. I won't say it. Let me say hi to the chat room. Let's see. Who do we have in here right now? I know I already awarded the podium. The podium is, of course, April, Taronda, and Barney. But who else do we have here? Peter. There's my guy, Peter. Look at him. He's glorious. We got Mikey D. And then we got another one of these bots. Dragon 666 LOL. No cap. That's one of them youngsters that are here. It's like one of these young flies floating around the internet live streams. I don't know what. Are they selling something? Mikey D's in the chat room. Hi, Mikey. I said hi. It's Kevin. It's Adam. It's Al. Here they all are. Billy Falk, of course. And, of course, Anti-Lid Fund. There we go. Yeah. Where's the hat is right. So, I said when we went into first place, here's the hat. When we went into first place on Friday, I said I would wear the hat when we're in first place. Okay. Haven't worn the hat since because we're tied, because we're technically tied. So I don't wear hats for ties. That's kissing your sister. Now, should the Chicago White Sox defeat the New York Yankees tonight and the Milwaukee Brewers defeat the Cleveland Guardians, I'll be wearing that hat tomorrow. But we'll have to wait and see. What's Barney getting into? Barney says, can we pressure wash the Washington Monument? That thing used to be white. Isn't it white now? I mean, I'm not arguing with you, but yeah, we should pressure wash everything. That's kind of part of the maintenance. They didn't build these things and go, well, no one will ever pay a dime to fix it up. I mean, we knew going in. When a memorial is built and it's supposed to be there forever, there's a budget that's where, so whatever. So you fix the pool. Well, I don't understand why people are complaining. That's a waste of money. Have you seen the war? What do you mean? 14 million is a waste of, have you seen the war? And they're complaining about that too. It just seems so silly to me to be nitpicking over this, 14 million on a reflecting pool for maintenance that needs to be done. Now, with that said, wait till we get into it, because you're going to be like, oh, Pug's completely changed his opinion. No, there's another side to it, and it needs to be said as well. We'll get into that. All right. Man, I feel great, and I know it's the weather. I know that it's got to be the weather. Oh, got to be the weather. My son and I are watching The Punisher. We're trading back and forth TV shows. Like I'm like, you got to watch a show of mine. And he's like, fine, you got to watch a show of mine. And I'm like, good. So I told you yesterday, the show that I'm making him watch is The West Wing, because the dude needs to understand civics. He needs to understand how government works. He needs to understand about the different houses and how politics means compromise, and how sometimes you don't get what you want, but you get what's for the greater good. Anyway, civics. Kids don't learn this shit anymore. We didn't learn this shit. I realized civics stopped before I was even conscious of that stuff. Sometime in the mid-1970s, they stopped making it a required course because, a dumb citizenry is easy to manipulate. So I'm making him watch West Wing. He's making me watch The Punisher. Frank Castle. 2017 to 2020, I guess it was on. I don't know, one of these Marvel shows. I never saw it. I saw the Punisher movies with Tom Jane. That's as far as I go with the Punisher. So I wasn't familiar with, John Bernthal's Punisher. So my son and I have been watching season 1 of The Punisher on Disney or whatever it's on. I'm not even sure what it's on. It's so good. It's so good. It is such a good show. If you haven't seen John Bernthal and Ebon Moss-Bachrach, yeah, that's him. Cousin Richie from The Bear. If you like Cousin Richie from The Bear, he's the co-star of this, which is interesting because there's so much Bear crossover in The Punisher. It's insane because, of course, in the television show, the hit Hulu television show, The Bear, John Bernthal plays Mikey Bearzetti. He's the older brother who, as the series begins, has just committed suicide. So Mikey Bearzetti isn't even a living character in the course of the series of The Bear. He is, however, a major character in that his suicide affects basically everything, and that he is prominently featured, the actor, John Bernthal, prominently featured in many flashback scenes in The Bear. So even though John Bernthal's character of Mikey is dead in the series, he still appears as a series regular, and oftentimes with Cousin Richie, who is Ebon Moss-Bachrach. Do you know that these two guys, these two actors, that's not a fluke? Ebon Moss-Bachrach, who plays Cousin Richie, I don't even know if I'm saying his last name right. He's so good. He and John Bernthal were like roommates when they were doing off-Broadway in the late 90s together. Like, they started together as buddies. And then, I don't know, I guess I'm thinking The Punisher came first because that series ran 2017 to 2019. And when did The Bear run? The Bear ran like 2020 to 2025, or is it still going? I don't even know. It's jumped the shark. We can admit that about The Bear. It's totally jumped the shark. But I just think it's interesting that these two guys who are such good friends, Ebon Moss-Bachrach and John Bernthal, they both had, ascending careers in their own way, but they seem to always come back together to work together. And I can see why. Their chemistry is incredible. If you watch The Bear, the flashback scenes with Mikey and Richie and Mikey were best friends. The chemistry is terrific. If you saw the recent Hulu movie, Gary, you saw the chemistry between Ebon Moss-Bachrach and John Bernthal in Gary, which is a movie that was released by Hulu that is existing. It exists in the Bear universe, although before the series takes place. So anyway, these two guys are the stars of The Punisher. Ebon Moss-Bachrach plays this, the computer guy who stays underground and controls all the info that the Punisher uses to be the Punisher. And these two guys are incredible together. They're so funny. There is such obvious chemistry. Anyway, I'm really enjoying my son's pick to click, which was The Punisher. And I hope he's enjoying The West Wing as much as I'm enjoying his. He seems to be. All right. Do we want to get started here? Big Luke Big Luke, I bet they have the same talent manager. Yeah, I mean, probably. Absolutely, probably. Because if they both work together and live together and all of that, yeah, probably. But it's also in a situation like that, and especially now, like it'd be interesting to see now, like post 2026, if these guys continue to work together. I'll tell you why, because now I think they both have some stroke that they didn't have when they were working together. Like, I don't know that in 2017, John Bernthal, who had probably just come off Walking Dead, which I guess is a big show, but in 2017, when The Punisher started, I don't think Ivan Moss Backrack had any stroke. I think he probably just got cast. Maybe John Bernthal had a little stroke and said, cast my friend. And then that led for Ivan Moss Backrack to the casting in The Bear. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I would imagine that they might have the same manager. That seems like a question for AI. Kevin is in the chat room. Kevin says, Punisher, that scene when he was locked in the cell block and had to fight his way through. Wow. Now, I don't know if I've gotten to that scene yet, Kevin, but I will tell you there are more than a handful of scenes that I've already seen in the first 6 episodes of season 1 where I went, wow. Also, I'll tell you another really nice surprise about watching The Punisher with my son. Deborah Ann Woll. Deborah Ann Woll. I didn't think I'd ever see Deborah Ann Woll again. She was baby vamp Jessica from True Blood. You remember True Blood? She was like my favorite character in True Blood. She was this little good Christian girl who got turned into a vampire and didn't quite know how to handle these new powers. She was very funny. And dare I say, very sexy. Very sexy. Deborah Ann Woll, very sexy. So she's in this too. And my son's like, oh, you just think she's a small part in this, but she's actually the star of Daredevil. That's what it is. Daredevil. Daredevil. Did we just create a new character? I think we just created a new character. Kevin Barber. Kevin, you are very talented in this arena. I need you to drop some specs for our new character, Daredevil. Let's get Marvel on the phone. And at the same time, let's get DC on the phone. Let's see if we can get something going on here. All right, so we got to start talking about shit, I guess. All right, so let's talk about the peace memo. I don't know, what are we calling it? It's like, I've never heard this. I've never heard anything like this before. I've never a memo. It's like there's no details. We're gonna work those out. So it's not a deal. It's a memo of agreement. But he needed, Trump needed a win. These guys, they're salesmen. They're always selling. They're always, over-promising. And okay, so let's go from the beginning. Let me just give you where I am before I share with you what's happening and then my opinion on it all. So this entire war from the very beginning was a distraction. Trump used it as an end zone dance to say things like, no other president had the balls to do this. And I'm like, no, as it turns out, no other president was this stupid or desperate to do it. But Trump was desperately trying to fight off this whole Epstein thing, which, by the way, we forgot. We've moved on. Oh, Epstein's over. Oh, the Epstein thing's over. We're just like, yeah, I guess we just surrounded by powerful pedophiles. I guess that's just the new normal. We've totally moved on from the Epstein thing. We totally moved on. Okay. So anyway, get back to it. I believe that this Iran war was just a distraction. It was something to occupy the headlines. And it did. It worked. We got all into it. And then, like, 3 days in, he declared victory. And then, then it turned into, we've got a peace deal. And we're like, wait, I thought we won. And then we've destroyed their entire, and we didn't, because they're still launching missiles and drones and all that. So again, like I always say about institutions in this country now, I have no faith in any of them. I don't believe a thing that they say. They're all just PR firms. That's what they are. Every official statement from this government is essentially like a PR statement. So for what it's worth, I was a fan of the idea when he first went in because I think regime change is the most important thing in the region. Get rid of that crazy fundamentalist religious theocracy. No, it's not even what it is. It's a I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but they are radical and they are the last remaining obvious troublemakers. And by that, I mean known funders of terrorist organizations. They're the last one remaining in that region. We got rid of Assad. We've become friends with Saudi Arabia to the extent that Saudi Arabia themselves are now sort of acting as police to root out terror cells and stuff, which is something they never did before. They were never willing to do that before. So, I think Trump's a clown, but at least he got him to do that. Now, I don't know what he gave him. I don't know what, but that's good. Okay. Iran and the regime in Tehran were the ones that were still causing all the problems. They were the ones that were still poking Israel. And all right, there we go. Are we good? Did we only go off for a second? I think I caught it. I need the chat room to tell me if I caught it or not. I need you guys. All right, so hold on before we get into that. Byron will come in first. Byron says, I would like to be referred to as War Devil from now on. War Devil. I don't think I can do that. I created the term War Devil, and I immediately gave it to Kevin to create the imagery of. Well, I think, look, you want to know what politics is? Here we go. Compromise. Kevin, you now must make War Devil in the image of Byron. All right. There you go. So there's your assignment, Kevin. All right. War Devil in the image of Byron. Byron, you're going to need to send Kevin some nudes. Sorry, but if you want to be War Devil, that's how it works. You got to strip down and take a naked selfie and send it to KB Artist, and he's gonna work something up for us. All right, let's see here. Anti-Lib says, as opposed to Israel, which is what? Peacemakers? That's an insane take. No, I'm not concerning myself with Israel. I'm talking about, you are looking at this globally, and I don't know what effect or what you can do globally. I'm looking at this locally. I wanted regime change. I think that's what you're referring to. I wanted this dictatorial, religious, fascist, whatever it is there that has been in place since 1979. I wanted them gone. I thought that would be a truly great step in whatever, peace in the Middle East. Like, there isn't going to be an accord we're just going to have to calm shit down for about 50 years before anyone can go, well, the Middle East certainly is better than it was. This is a long play, okay? So I wanted regime change. When that became clear that wasn't going to happen because of what it would take to make that happen, and our government being unwilling, or at least our president being unwilling to do the things that it would take, all right, that's when the whole shit fell apart for me. And I'm like, this whole thing is just a joke. The one good thing about this is that we don't have a body count. We do. Early on, we suffered some losses, very serious. But let's be honest, for a war that's been going on, we don't have burning battleships. We don't have the president running out to the airport at the air base, to welcome back body bags. We haven't seen that. So as far as distractions go, this really was just a huge waste of our money. That's all it was. And let's be honest, the memo of understanding, which I've never heard of before, and I hate when the media does this. They act like this is something that, the MOU, I can't say it as clearly as that, but they'll present it like, and in this particular MOU, it states that. So if you're watching that, you're like, MOU must be a thing. I just probably never heard of it. It's not a fucking thing. It's not a fucking thing. It's like when journalists were talking about the claw at the, and of course, there's the famous claw that they've ever. It's not the famous claw. It's the first time they've ever used it. There is no such thing as the claw at the UFC because the UFC exists inside stadiums. The claw was created because it was an outdoor event. We've never had an outdoor event. Would you stop acting like the claw is a thing. It's not a thing, or at least it never had been. Of course, everyone might recognize the famous claw. You have never watched UFC in your life, have you? Caitlin Collins, or whatever the... Anyway, memo of understanding, right? That's a new thing, guys. I'm sorry. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just, being stupid. It's a new thing. At the very least, if it's not a new thing, if it is something that precipitates a larger peace deal or something, then it's something that has never been made public before, probably because it doesn't mean anything. Because it's just like, hey, we're going to agree to hammer out the rest of this, but right now we're cool, right? That's all it means. That is not a peace deal, and that is not the sort of thing that anyone would have ever done an end zone dance over, but here we are. Here we are. A memo of understanding. All right, so now, I told you I did some fact digging. One of the things that really burns my butt about this is the supposed payoff to get Iran to stop fighting. Now, I understand that that's a very agendized way of looking at it, but I would beg you, how else are you supposed to look at it? There is no way out of this thing. Gas prices are through the roof. We're not going to be able to effectively take over the Strait of Hormuz unless we do the things that we are just simply not willing to do. And that is, as I said, an endless cavalcade of body bags flowing through the Washington Air Force Base there. What is that? That's not Edwards. I don't know what base it is there. You know what I mean. We're not willing to do that, and thankfully we're not. I'm not for that. As I've always said, I am for a coalition, if you will, of people in the region, neighborhood troops. I want people from Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, probably not Israel. We're gonna let Israel sit this one out, but I want those troops going into Iran and going street to street and doing the fighting and actually, advocating for, a new way of Iran to... Why didn't we do this when there were millions of people in the street? Didn't we start the war like a month after that? All right. Now I'm getting off. Anyway, that coalition of forces is not going to happen. We've been told that. They've been trying to get that done. No one will come and help the United States in the Gulf. The French won't come and help in the Strait. The Brits won't come and help in the Strait. The Germans won't come and help in the Strait. We're on our own. And so the president needed a way to back out of this. Again, I've been saying for weeks, it's Homer in the bushes. This is what he wants. He just wants it to be over. And I think it was J.D. Vance who said as much yesterday. He was making the rounds, trying to sell this victory, making the rounds. And he said something like, well, at the end of the day, the American people are just tired of this war. That's not a reason to end it, although I agree we are tired of this war, but we're tired of this war because it's not a moral war. There is no righteous victory in this war other than the fact that, maybe get our gas prices down below $3 a gallon. That'd be nice. But honestly, this is what we're talking about here. He started a war to distract from some bad things. He thought it would be easy. Everybody told him it wouldn't be easy. And he sat there like, well, how hard could it be? It's Iran. We're America, right? This is the guy we elected. And then generals, do you remember this? The generals were like, are you fucking nuts, sir? And he's like, General, you're fired. Remember the exodus of Pentagon generals? Yes, it was because of this stupid shit, because the smart people were like, you're just going to fuck up the American people. You're going to cause gas to go up to $5 a gallon, and people are still going to talk about Epstein. Well, he was wrong about that one, because Trump has been successful again between the UFC fight at the White House, the reflecting pool, the war. We are no longer talking about Epstein. We are a country and that, by the way, that is our brand. You ever seen anybody else from around? You ever see people from other countries, on Twitter or whatever, when they talk about America? Yeah, we're the pedophile country now. Everybody. Swedes. There was a dude, I don't know if it was Sweden, it was Norway or something. It was somebody from one of those countries that I thought they were nice people. And I saw this person, they basically referred to us as, the pedophile, the Republic of Pedophiles or something. I don't know. I was like, what? That can't be our brand. That's our brand now? We normalize child rape? Or it's okay if you're rich. If you're rich, you can child rape. Is that who we are? Because that's who the rest of the world thinks we are. Ranting. All right, I wanted to go into some facts about the money because the $300 million seems to be something that the left is pushing. All right, let's be clear. This is not $300 billion in taxpayer money, okay? It's not like your kid's not going to get a free lunch if we pay a rent. That's not what this is. This is $300 billion that Iran will have access to. Now, where does this $300 billion come from? It is supposedly, again, do we believe our institutions? This comes officially from, people speaking for the White House. It is supposed to be a fund that is grown by individual nations in the region. So Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, right, UAE, Jordan, all of these countries are going to be establishing this fund. America will as well. America, they're not saying how much or whatever. At this point, Trump's like, nah, I'm just managing the fund. So it's not $300 billion in American taxpayer funds. However, it is a fund being created by the United States by pressuring other countries in the region to create $300 billion worth of money that Iran can then use to rebuild all the things that we blew up. So it's a Marshall Plan. Think of it like this. It's kind of like the Marshall Plan if, Hitler was still in power. Yeah, so we're going to rebuild Hitler's Germany. Hey, so you're not going to kill Jews no more? And you're going to kind of be nice, Hitler? Hitler's like, yes, I will. And you're like, okay, we're going to rebuild Germany for you. See, the Marshall Plan probably wouldn't have been accepted as readily as it was back in the day, if that were the case, right? So that's my problem. I don't think that we're giving $300 billion of taxpayer-funded money. I don't think that's the deal. I kind of understand where they're saying the money's coming from. We'll see, but right now I understand where they're saying the money's coming from. My problem is that we're rebuilding Iran for this government that is just as bad as the one that we killed. And now this government is angry because we killed their parents or whatever. It's absurd. It's absurd that we rebuild. But that's a concession that had to be made in order for Iran to go, okay, understand this entire deal benefits Iran. This is good for them. They stay in power. They're going to get their shit rebuilt. They'll promise a little something about nukes, but we'll get to that later. See, that's the part that still needs to be negotiated. Yeah, the part that still needs to be negotiated is the part that has stopped every negotiation cold in its tracks for 20 years. But other than that, we won. Okay. Now, I haven't seen the chat room, but if we got Frankie in the chat room, I assume that you're all going to start talking about how Obama paid them $1.7 billion, right? Because that's what I thought. I thought, look, if I'm going to sit here and I'm going to defend Trump and say that this is not the $300 billion in taxpayer dollars that is being presented on social media to stir people up, I've then got to address the first deal and the Obama money, because if you listen to anyone on the right, we gave them billions. We went into Fort Knox and that is not what happened. Okay. So what Obama did was, as a part of the original Iran deal that was, I am not qualified to say what is better and what is worse, but everybody who presents on TV as being qualified says that this deal is way worse than what Obama had. Anyway, point is this. Obama released. Okay, here, you know what? Here, I'm going to get it for real. Okay, Obama gave them their money back. Okay, so here's what happened before the revolution, the Islamic revolution in Iran. We were sending Iran and the Shah of Iran military equipment. Iran paid $400 million in 1979 for a whole bunch of warplanes. Then their government fell, and the Islamic Revolution occurred, and there was a new government there. We, the United States, said, you paid us $400 million, but we ain't delivering any of those weapons, or we ain't giving you guns now because you're crazy. So they said, okay, we'll just return the money. And the United States said, well, no, we're not going to return the money. Okay. Iran sued the United States at The Hague in the World Court, because this is how these things happen. That suit had been going on for like 50 years. Okay. Obama, the 1.7 was him settling that dispute. The Hague ruled against the United States like 30 years ago, saying that we got to return their money, but we wouldn't return their money. They were frozen assets. So that's what Obama did. He signed a thing to release the money. Also had to pay interest. Also had to pay some interest, which was like a ridiculous amount of money. But the point of the matter is that Obama didn't give him money either. No matter what you people have been told by your endless cackling from AM talk radio hosts, Obama just simply agreed to settle a lawsuit that the United States had been in and lost and refused to pay. That was it. And it wasn't our money. Understand, it was their money. We froze their money. They bought shit from us. We didn't deliver and then froze that money for 50 years. That is the Obama payment. So spin it any way you want, but those are the facts. All right. So Trump is not giving $400 million or $1 billion of taxpayer dollars, and Obama didn't either. Stop it. All right. Let's see here. This MOU is in no way a better deal than okay, got you. See, you're weird politically. I love you, Maddie, but what is JCPOA? You can't possibly be as expertly up on that as someone who would just so casually write that. That is not something that normal people use in their argument. I guess that's the Obama deal. I've never heard of JCPOA before. Stop it. You're radicalized. And I'll move on to Barney next, or Byron. All right, I'm going to read this, though. The memo of understanding is in no way a better deal than the JCPOA. We unfroze 1.7 billion in Iranian money this time. So I just said we are unfreezing 24 billion. So I don't want to hear one BS thing about the JCPO. What is this? This time we're unfreezing 24 billion. I'm going to need you to explain more on that. I don't know where that's coming from. As I like to say, cite your source. Yeah. Anyway, look, we're basically in agreement here. I'm just making fun of the fact that she's using JCPOA. All right. What else? Maddie also says that was the Obama deal. Yes. And it's always referred to as JCPOA. Maybe in your weird circles of the internet. Or I don't know. See, I just don't think normal people should be that casual or that familiar with the term to use it in such a way. Just call it the Obama deal. What are you showing off? Is that it? Are you trying to show that you know more than Barney or Byron or me or whatever? I don't know. This may be true, but I'm not a political news junkie. She says it's always been referred to as the JCPOA. No idea what it stands for. All right. Don't care because it was a bunch of years ago and it was their money. It's not even something that we need to know about. I don't give a shit. Oh, here's an interesting story from today. So Luigi's back in the news. Luigi Mangione, he of course on a New York street a couple of years back walked up to a businessman, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, I believe that was his name, and murdered him right there on the street. But we're not appalled because he's hot. We don't have he's attractive. I mean, sure, it's not a good thing to encourage people to do, but he's attractive. Seriously. There's a weird vibe surrounding Luigi Mangione. He is a psychotic killer who just murdered a man because he didn't like the industry that the man was a part of. That's a fucking psycho, but he's hot. And he did it for us. No, he didn't. He did it for himself because he's a psycho and he wanted to be famous. And now he's really famous. Anyway, he's made a plea. You're wondering, like, what's his deal? Guess what his plea is? That's right. His plea is crazy. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Luigi Mangione says, I suffered from an extreme emotional disturbance back when I killed Brian Thompson. Luigi Mangione wants to mount a seldom used defense in his murder trial. Extreme emotional disturbance. Well, I would think yes. I mean, I mean, I know I'm naive about this, but I have just always believed that if you take someone's life, okay, not stop it, not war, not the situation that will never happen to you, but you're always like, what about when somebody kicks in my door in the middle of the night and I just happen to have my loaded gun and I kill? All right, that's fine. Somebody kicks in your fucking door, never gonna happen. Somebody kicks in your door, that's fine. You can kill them since you're so, down to kill a living thing, Mr. Christian. That's fine, right? That's fine. War, I get it. People die. But I've always felt that, like, anybody that kills anybody, they're nuts. You're nuts. Like, if you put a gun to someone's head and you're like, give me your wallet, and you're like, no, and you're like, I'm going to kill you. Boom. That person's crazy. That person is crazy because I can't understand how somebody can take such a drastic step so casually over, say, a wallet or whatever. The reasons people get killed. I mean, when it's a boyfriend who catches the girlfriend cheating on him and then he kills the girlfriend or the guy she's cheating with, whatever. When he does that, they call it a crime of passion. It's like, well, he was out of his mind. I mean, that's a defense that has worked. I don't know how effectively, but you know what I mean? You've heard that, crime of passion. I think anytime you murder somebody, you're not in your right headspace when you actually do the deed. And I don't know if that's indicative of some greater malady that you suffer with in your day-to-day life, or if it's just temporary insanity. But I do believe that that's a crazy person's act. Especially in the case of Luigi Mangione, it shows premeditation. He stalked this guy. He knew where he was. He made plans. He booked hotel rooms. He had an escape plan. So he's crazy. All right. Not only in the moment where he kills the person. And again, this wasn't a fit of rage. This wasn't a crime of passion. This wasn't a spur of the moment thing. No, he premeditated this. He was a nutty guy who sat at his computer at some point and went, you know what? I think I'm going to murder Brian Thompson. That's a fucking crazy person. He was a crazy person in that moment. All right. Now, you people, you might be like, oh, he's going to get off on insanity. Well, I don't know. that's for doctors. I think his brand of insanity might serve him well in prison. Like, I don't know that he should be. Anyway, let's leave the story. Luigi Mangione wants to mount a seldom used defense in his murder trial. Extreme emotional disturbance. And if the jury buys it, he could become a free man one day. Well. So he's a young guy, okay? So people who kill people when they're young, they almost all, like, getting life with no possibility of parole is really rare. If you're just an average guy who kills a dude in a road rage incident when you're 22, you're probably getting out at 50. Or, you're probably going to get out with some time left on your clock. So why wouldn't, Luigi Mangione just killed one dude. Were there special circumstances? I think there were, because he stalked them and he was trying to make a bigger point. But my thing is this, is like, it should be assumed that Luigi Mangione is young. If he gets 30 years, he could be released at 60. So I don't know what. Mangione appeared in court Wednesday with his lawyers, who informed the judge that he'll use the defense when he goes to trial for the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. What's fascinating, the defense would allow Mangione and his lawyers to effectively put United Healthcare on trial, showing the company's conduct in denying claims was so egregious it upset Mangione to the point of meltdown. All right. If I'm the judge, I'm like, let's move forward. I want to hear about this. All right. So what is this you're claiming exactly? It upset Mangione to the point of meltdown. As TMZ has extensively reported, Mangione was extremely upset with the way corporate greed controlled the United States. Get in line, pal. I ain't killing anybody. To prevail, Mangione's lawyers would have to show his emotional reaction was reasonable under the circumstances. Boy, that's a heavy lift, huh? How you going to show that it was reasonable to just murder a dude at like 7 a.m. while he's going to some boardroom meeting? To prevail, Mangioni's lawyers would have to show his emotional reaction was reasonable under the circumstances, and it manifested itself in a loss of self-control. All right, so the defense is going to be, yeah, he was driven crazy because of the way United Healthcare denied his claim. Hold on, wait. So he's crazy, but temporarily crazy. Like United Health, whatever. I don't care. It's going to be a good trial. I can't wait for it. This is going to be one of the, Luigi Mangione is not going to be one of these Carmelo Anthony trials. Carmelo Anthony's trial was like a week, like a solid week. That's it. Luigi's going to go forever. The defense is available in New York, this particular defense. It's available in New York and several other states. If it sticks with the jury, he would be found guilty of manslaughter, but not murder. First-degree manslaughter carries a minimum prison sentence of 5 years, and the maximum is 25 years. Luigi is 28, so he could regain his freedom. Holy cow. Let's just game plan this out. Let's say he gets 5 years. Let's say if the jury, because it's not the judge has to do what the jury says. If the jury, and I don't know, man, the jury, corporate greed, healthcare, I mean, this could be a wild card jury. The jury could give him manslaughter, and he could be out in 5 years. He's, how old does it say? 28? Is that what I said? Yeah, 28. So out in 5 years, let's say he does the full 5. Okay, let's not do the one day on, 1 day up. So let's say he does the full 5, 33. 33-year-old paroled Luigi Mangione. Holy crap. What do you think his upside is? Huge. I'm fixed now. Tune in to the Luigi Mangione Show every weekday at 3 p.m. on NBC5. He's gonna, anyway, that's what's happening. So he's gonna claim cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and then his team is gonna try and prove that he was driven cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because of the horrid behavior of United Healthcare, which caused him to temporarily lose his mind. Although again, there was a lot of planning. So how are we defining temporarily? Temporarily, like for 3 weeks? Like 3 weeks. When he decided he was temporarily crazy, and then the minute he killed him, he like snapped out of it. Good luck with that. All right, Luigi Mangione was in court today, and he pled cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Reflecting pool. Let's talk about the reflecting pool story, okay? So, here. The reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial. It was one of the major things in President Trump's "Let's Make Washington Beautiful" for 250, right? Which makes sense, man. Like, I'm sorry, but if it was any president and we were coming up on the 250th anniversary, if any presidential administration said, "Yeah, we're gonna really work hard to make this place look really good for July 4th, 250," I think 250. Spring cleaning, let's get everything spruced. I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. That seems like infrastructure cost. That seems like something that is built into the stew already. But of course, Trump has to be real shady about it. And this is the problem that I think reasonable people have with it. It's not the cleaning of the pool. It's not the particular choice of the pool people to paint the bottom American blue, right? Whatever. That's all stupid, petty shit. The deal is that this was a $14 million job. And it was a no-bid job that he just gave to the people that are already under contract at Trump resorts. That's my problem with it. Why's he got to make it shady? There is a process. There is a process where you have bids for these big government projects. They're not supposed to just go to a guy that Trump likes. He does good work. Well, what about all the other, American businessmen what about the guy who's got the pool cleaning company here locally, who this could make his career? You could take a regular working man and you could put him on the big stage. Do you know what he could do? He could expand his business, but no, Trump's going with some guy that he already gets good deals from for Trump National Golf Resorts. It's absurd. That's my problem with it. It's just wrong. There is nothing wrong with doing what he's doing. What is wrong is who he's got doing it and the fact that it wasn't a fair bidding process. So that's my problem. Here's some pictures. Here's the issue. They drained it. This was like an 8-week process. They drained it. They redid the bottom with a color that was called American flag blue. And it was promised that the American flag blue would make the algae bloom, which plagues this particular body of water. The American flag blue would make the algae bloom less obvious, right? So that was the promise. Oh, it's going to be great. It's American flag blue, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so as it turns out, I guess that color, scientists are saying, actually acts as an accelerant for algae blooms. And it is specifically because of that color that was chosen. I guess Trump's guy doesn't really know. I guess Trump's guy just does like pools at fancy rich people country clubs. And so he just kind of wung it. So anyway, that color has been described by experts in this stuff. I've seen them all over. That color has been described as an accelerant that created basically a petri dish combined with the heat, the sun, and the way that the color at the bottom of the pool conducts heat and blah, blah, blah. All right. Anyway, it was so it's a mistake. So maybe that's a mistake. Maybe it's not. Who knows? Again, I don't know anything about pool cleaning. I'm just listening to the experts and what they're saying. All right. So they do the pool and it looked great. Here, we got some pictures. Here, I'll show you some pictures. It looked great. It was everything that on day one, opening night, it was everything he promised. Crystal clear waters. It was beautiful, man. But now, after a couple of days, there's this horrible algae bloom. There you see it. All right, what we're looking at here, though, this is the result of yesterday. Because the algae bloom came right back. It was only pretty for like 3 days. Because the algae bloom came right back, apparently the Department of the Interior sent like a team of people down there yesterday with giant jugs of hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide would be used in this case in the place of chlorine, right? Chlorine's a little bit too heavy, a little bit too toxic. They're using something less. So they're using hydrogen peroxide. They dumped gallons and gallons and gallons into this almost 300-gallon pool of water. They dumped gallons and gallons of this hydrogen peroxide. And apparently it only kind of got rid of the algae bloom around the edges. As you can see, still here in the middle, they're going to need more hydrogen peroxide. What they're saying about the hydrogen peroxide is that, yeah, no, this is absolutely what you use for this kinds of thing, but it's a temporary fix. It is not a permanent fix. A permanent fix, you have to find the right balance of like chlorine and this and that. So here you have it. This was yesterday. Everybody made fun of them for dumping hydrogen peroxide in there, but apparently you do use hydrogen peroxide in this way, especially when you're trying something less toxic. And hey, look at that. There you go, environmentalists. Look at the Trump Department of the Interior was using a less toxic cleaner. Didn't work, though. Again, everybody is making fun. Oh, you promised it would be nice. Oh, and now look, it's worse than ever. Well, I don't know if it's worse than ever. I don't know that it was ever bad. I'm sorry, but I don't remember over the years people going, yeah, I went to Washington. You should see that reflecting pool. It's fucking gross, man. Like, I don't remember that being a thing. I don't remember it ever being a big problem. Every time I see it, it looks pretty, right? And, oh, it's got green and moss. Well, it's a body of water. It's supposed to, I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. But Trump likes his perfection, his phony baloney, non-natural, crystal clear waters. That's what he wants. And, you know, that's like something you'd find in a fountain at one of his casinos. This is an outdoor, it's not a real body of water, of course. It's a man-made pool, but, you know, still it's outdoors. It's subject to the heat and the environment and animals and ducks and stuff like that. So it's going to have issues that maybe your grand fountain at the Trump Atlantic City didn't have. But again, the whole bit about making fun of it, it's petty. It's petty. Is it foolish? Yes, it's another kind of dick-tripping, kind of Trump the salesman, over-promised, under-delivered, and now the customers are like, but it's not clear. And he's like, hamana, and he's fast-talking. This is just par for the course. As I always say, We don't know what to get angry about from this guy because they have flooded the zone with scandal and incompetence. Somebody posted the other day, last night I was reading this. They're like, hey, do you guys realize that the son of the president contacted a sports official and asked for information on a rigged fight so that he could bet money on insider rigged fight information? And nobody is even talking about it today. That was a tweet. And I was like, yeah, we don't care. It's not a big deal. In more normal times, that would bring down a presidency. The president's son doing some shit like that. Here, nobody batted an eyelash at it. We're like, yeah, that's normal now. It's normal for the Trump family to be involved in real shady shit that before would be things that would end. But now, well, it's different. I thought that was interesting. And this reflecting pool thing is another one of these deals where the left, I feel, is shooting themselves, the opposition. I like to call them the opposition because the left makes me gag. The opposition is shooting themselves in the foot again because they're just constantly being petty about everything. So when you're bitching about chlorine and laughing about chlorine being poured into the pool, you're actually causing us to be a little bit more, I don't know, scabbed over when shit like the Iran deal comes down. Because, well, oh yeah, that's just another thing he's doing. No, they're different things, and they're of different importance. So let's, opposition, stop being distracted by all the bullshit so that you can play got 'em on Twitter. Let's stop that, and let's actually focus on the things that are important that regular people like you, me, and anybody else listening here need to be paying attention to. There are things that are important, and we're not paying attention to them because we're giggling about hydrogen peroxide being poured into the pool. All right. Be better, opposition. Be better, be meaner, be more dialed in. You're all a bunch of chicks giggling and stuff. Ha ha! Stop it. And yes, I understand that is kind of their whole motif. That's how they operate. Be best, as our first lady said, as our first lady call girl said. Be bester. Be bester, opposition. All right. You know what? Here's what I want to do. I want to take a quick break. Yeah, we'll take a quick break. And when I come back, I told you last week about this story out of Chicago where somebody burnt a cross there in Grant Park. And Chicago was all tizzied out. You don't do that in Chicago. This is another example of horrible MAGA. But yeah, it was all that. I had a hot take. We saw the video. We watched it last week. And I was like, here's what I think. And I gave you everything that I thought from looking at the situation. And I was completely wrong. I was so wrong. Remember what I said? We had the picture of the guy, the traffic cams and all that, had a very clear picture of the guy. And he looked like a homeless junkie. He was like Mexican or maybe Asian. He weren't white. And that's important because you would associate burning of the cross with white supremacy. But this guy wasn't white. So I had the theory. I went, this is what they're doing. Okay, so some crazy fucking white supremacist people, what they did was they saw this junky homeless guy, paid him $100 and told him, go do this. That made sense. Made sense at the time. Totally wrong. I was so wrong. So I'll tell you exactly what's happening there with him. We're also going to revisit the Major League Baseball and the Bible situation from yesterday. We're going to get some facts straight. And then, a whole bunch of other stuff. We got a bunch of other stuff. The father, right? Girl dad who took the little girls into the bathroom. We're going to have to revisit that. And then, of course, we've got all the rest of the stuff that we do, the staples, the foundational pieces, 3 videos, can't beat fun at the old ballpark, and, of course, your pithy chat comments. I need a quick break. One more time, I do want to thank our Pledge Week heroes, as we like to call them. These are the people who have dropped tips for this show this month, or at least during this Pledge Week, I should say. Please help us out. It is Pledge Week. As I said, we were about $170-something down. We're at like $2. I don't know. I don't like to give numbers, but maybe I need to give numbers so people have a better idea. We're at $279. We need to get to $450. So help us out if you can. Thank you to Leslie C., Tracy D., Peter, Barney, ×2, Barney. Thank you, Barney. Mama B. the magical Heidi, Peter again, and April. Thank you, folks. You want to drop a little something and help us out? I'm going to take a quick break. We'll come back after this. Again, all that stuff that I just told you about. I also need to go check on the weather. I promised thunderstorms. I promised tornado warnings. We haven't gotten any of that in the first hour and 10, 15 minutes of this show. So I'm going to go check on the situation. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. We're back. Thank you. Part 2 of today's show. There we go. Enough of that. Need a sip of soda. This is soda today. I'm living life on the edge. Usually it's water during the show. Today I went, you know what? I want the soda. Not good. Not good. I'm trying to drink more water. Speaking of water, the boy is up. The boy is up and around. He's upstairs in the shower as we speak, getting his day started right at the crack of 1:30. Been up. Oh, yeah, I've been down here I've been up for a while. I've been down here in the studio since 8 a.m. And, he can sleep. He doesn't have to be up at 8 a.m. He's on summer vacation, right? At 10 o'clock, I poke my head in there. Dead. And at 11, poke my head in. Dead. Show starts at 12, right? We start the show. I'm up there. I poke my head in. Nothing. Anyway, he's up and around now. He's got his morning started. 1:30. I will say this about this kid. He showers more than I did at his age. He does. I mean, I'm a regular showerer now as a grown man because, you have to be. Otherwise, is there anything worse than being broke, ugly, and stinky? No. Okay. I'm already checking 2 of those boxes. So stinky cannot be on the dais for this little thing. He showers every day. Every day. I'm proud of that. I think that's a good thing. I think that's... Honestly, because when I was 17 years old, if it was the summer, I'm not going to say I would go a week without showering, but man, if it was the summer and I was jumping in lakes and jumping in pools and shit, I just didn't feel the need to shower on any regular basis. So anyway, it's nice that he showers. It's nice that he showers regularly as a part of him getting his day started. All right, let's get back into the things that we've promised, or that I've promised that we'll talk about today. What's the first thing? What was it? Where did we leave off on? All right, we didn't do cross-burning guy, right? That's what we're doing. Did we do cross-burning? No, we didn't do cross-burning guy. That's right. I teased cross-burning guy. So here, a couple of weeks ago, actually, I think it was last week, might have been early last week. We were all shocked here in the Chicago area when people in downtown, millions of people, this is like one of the most highly trafficked areas of, America's 3rd largest metropolitan area. This is Columbus Drive at Grant Park in downtown Chicago. It's where Lollapalooza is. It's where the Bean is. It's where, Michigan Avenue is. It is like the main stretch. So right there in Grant Park off Columbus a couple of days ago, somebody put a wooden cross, lit it on fire, and we had a cross burning here in Chicago. A cross burning here in the land of Obama. Here's what it looked like. Let's see if I can make that bigger. Of course I can't make it bigger. Oh, nothing's big. Why is everything so small? What's going on here? Seriously, why is this a thing? There you go. There's a better picture. All right. So that's what it looked like, burning right there. And do you know how many people saw this? It's just, which means, do you know how many people saw the person who did this? This wasn't done at 2:00 in the morning. This was done at 2:00 in the afternoon on a weekday in a bustling, busy, beep, beep, traffic, son of a bitch, downtown Chicago. It just happened. So that's why I thought there was something shady about the person who did it. I immediately thought that the person who did this is someone who's not really given much care about whether or not they get arrested. Person who did this, because they did it in broad daylight in front of thousands of people, and we also have traffic cams and shit. I'm like, this is dumb. So I assume the person who did it kind of knew he was going to get caught, which then led me to believe, after we saw the picture of the guy, which there he is, right? Why can't I get a better picture of this guy? I need a big picture of him. There he is. Okay, this is the picture. Why'd it get small? I didn't do nothing. It just got small on its own. Anyway, this is the picture of the guy. I got to find a bigger picture. It's driving me nuts because my whole breakdown is about what he looks like. Not pretty. Anyway, that's where it happened. All right, there are no big pictures. This is apparently the best I'm going to get. Oh, maybe I can make it. Oh, look at that. Look at me. I just made it big. All right. So this is the guy. This is the guy. And when I saw him, you telling me the guy on the right doesn't look like a homeless meth head? He doesn't look like a junkie who sleeps in the freaking... Come on. So when I saw that, I went, oh, yeah, okay. So this is a junkie who did this, because who else would be compelled to do it in the middle of the day with millions of witnesses? This guy probably did it for money. This guy was probably put up to it. And then I thought, well, there's a lot of bad people out there. There's a lot of dark money floating around. This certainly is going to make a big local story. It's going to get traction. So I assumed that some bad actor paid some homeless guy to do this just to stir everybody up. That's what I thought it was. I didn't think it was any announcement of the growing Klan in Chicago, because that wouldn't happen. Look, there is a reason. I am certain that the Bubbas in the Central Indiana Ku Klux Klan, that's where they were formed, by the way. I'm sure the Bubbas in the Central Indiana Ku Klux Klans are tough fellas, but there is a reason they've yet to invade the south side of Chicago. Ain't going near the tenements. Ain't going into the projects. Their big dumb hats will get caught in like the doorways and the elevator. It should be a shooting gallery. Anyway, I knew it wasn't that. I knew it wasn't some greater indication of a rising, militant right, supremacy right in Chicago. And that's kind of what people start. Oh my God, do we have to be what? No, I knew from the beginning that this was a stunt, probably for clicks, although turns out not. So that was my take on it. Because once again, look at this guy running. He looks like a junkie. He looks like he's wearing like military torn pants, and he looks like he's got bad tattoos all over his body, and he's not wearing a shirt. Who doesn't wear a shirt on Michigan Avenue? Homeless people, junkies. Anyway, that was my thought. Yeah, no, I was wrong, because that's not the case at all. I'm going to let you see the case. NBC5 broke this story last night. NBC5, Chuck Gowdy, guy by the name of Chuck Gowdy. Been watching Chuck Gowdy for 50 years of my life. Seriously, when I see Chuck Gowdy now, and he's the guy who ran this dude down, they identified him. NBC5 identified them. Investigates identified this guy. And they went and they got him, and they're like, "You want to talk?" Because I guess the cops haven't gotten to him yet. I guess that's coming now that he did the TV interview. So he got away. Probably because everybody was looking for homeless people. They're probably searching the gutters looking for a guy that looked like that. Turns out he's a college student at the University of Illinois, Chicago, and he's from Naperville, and he comes from money. And he's not a white supremacist. Not at all. Let's let Chuck Gowdy and the person of interest tell the story. This comes from NBC5 in Chicago. It aired last night. I'm actually okay with that. I am actually okay with this pop-up. We just got a pop-up commercial, and it's a commercial for the Chicago White Sox and how awesome they are. So I'll leave it there for a minute. Look at this. That's right. We got a pop-up about how great my team is. All right. We'll watch the whole thing. I'll make you watch the whole thing. Oh, you can't all right, never mind. Guess you can't.
And Teal will score.
Come on.
Have some.
All right, here we go.
We're going to begin with that NBC5 News.
All right, let me make this big for you. And let's watch this. The Grant Park, Chicago rise of white supremacy. Oh, clutch those pearls. Story has an answer, and here it is, NBC5 last night.
Investigates exclusive. This was the startling and offensive scene in Grant Park last Tuesday. A burning cross, a symbol for centuries that has represented racism and hatred. For just about a week now, Chicago police and the FBI have been trying to identify a man who is suspected of setting up this cross and torching it. Well, tonight, the NBC Chicago investigative team has now ID'd a 21-year-old college senior who says he is the person in this photo and describes.
That doesn't look like a 21-year-old college senior, okay? That looks like a dude who bailed on education about sophomore year of high school to go hang out with, a bunch of guys that smoke weed.
Why he did it to our investigative reporter Chuck Gowdy, who has interviewed the man behind the burning cross, and tonight has this exclusive story.
Until right now, the young shirtless man running from a burning cross in Grant Park was a nameless person of interest in a Chicago police arson investigation and subject of a...
I've been watching Chuck Gowdy for 50 years. He used to be a young, handsome reporter. And now he's like, I don't know, he used to stand behind a desk, so I never noticed how small he is. He's like a little Oompa Loompa. Anyway, that's enough about me and my memories of Chuck Gowdy.
Possible FBI hate crime case. NBC5 Investigates has now interviewed the man who admits burning the cross. University of Illinois Chicago senior Merlin Liu says he knew the implications of a burn.
Pretty cool name. That's a cool name. It's not as cool as Luigi Mangione, not as memorable, doesn't roll as poetically, but that's pretty good. Merlin Liu. I like that.
Burning cross and had placed a MAGA hat atop the cross, explaining his motivation was to protest.
Yeah, that's one of the, this kid's gonna lay some really deep thoughts, about his ideology and all that. He's gonna lay it all on you. But just remember, he's stupid because he put a MAGA hat on top of the cross as a symbol and then lit the MAGA hat on fire. Nobody saw the MAGA hat. The MAGA hat went up right away. He's a dummy. He didn't understand that, the MAGA hat, the symbolism of the MAGA hat was going to be instantly lost as soon as you doused it in gasoline and lit it on fire.
Trump administration injustice, not something racist.
How did you land on a burning cross?
It came up to my head one day. I wanted to find something that I could do by myself.
By the way, also, let me point out, one of the reasons I always like to point out when I see them so glaringly obvious, one of the reasons that nobody trusts the media is because the media is always putting on a show, okay? They're meeting clandestinely in a park bench because he hasn't turned himself into police yet. And this is an exclusive for NBC5. So where would be a good place to make people real? This is a manipulation. Clandestine meeting in a park bench. This dude could have been on set in the studio. They could have done it in his dorm room. They could have done it in a hotel room the way they usually do when they interview people for these kinds of stories. They rent a hotel room. But no, they wanted to sell this story to the people. We've really done the legwork, so much so that we can't even meet somewhere. We have to meet clandestine. I'm surprised they're not wearing black suits and black ski caps. This is so performative. Chuck Gowdy. Anyway, it's just another example of how the media, just every little thing is duplicitous and designed to make us think something that they want us to think. They want us, NBC5, they want us to give them credit for finding this guy. And they're going to sort of drive that home by showing how protective they were about the interview. They had to meet clandestinely in a park. I've never seen this before. All right. It's just stupid.
It came up to my head one day. I wanted to find something that I could do by myself, like no organization, no friends, I did know about this historical.
How about jerking off? You could do that, kid. It doesn't look like you're getting a lot of action from the ladies. That seems like this not the thing to do.
Relevance beforehand, but I didn't know the severity.
All right, so what he's claiming is that he doesn't know the severity. He didn't know the immediate symbolism of the cross and its history to racism. And he's trying to make it clear that what he was saying wasn't some sort of ringing the bell for the new rise of racism. No, he didn't even put that together. Which, I gotta be honest, I sit here as a grown man going, what do you mean, dumbass? What do you mean you didn't know about the symbolism of the burning cross? And you've never seen Mississippi burning? Probably not. I mean, my kid is 17 years old. He's incredibly smart and he's incredibly well-read. But there were occasionally things that he doesn't know that I'm like, what do you mean you don't know that? What the hell? And it's best not to react that way when your kid, says they don't know anything. But in my head, I'm like, what the fuck you mean you don't know that Jupiter is the biggest? What do you mean you don't know? So when this kid says that he honestly doesn't know or wasn't as aware of the direct correlation between a burning cross and racism in America, I kind of believe him. Look, I believe him because he's obviously stupid. He's probably like a lot of kids. Look at him. He's awkward. Okay. He's kind of a weird kid. I don't imagine he's got a lot of friends. I don't imagine he's got a lot of girlfriends. I imagine his social life is, a bit marginalized. You can tell by the way he talks. He's probably on the spectrum. That's just me. That's what I clocked. So him honestly not knowing that this was like a first and foremost racial gesture. I don't know. I kind of believe it. But let's let him explain it.
No friends, I did know about this historical relevance beforehand, but I didn't know the severity, how racially motivated it may seem from what I did, because my protest has nothing to do with race, nothing to do with gender.
Should you have done it some other way?
Yeah, probably.
Merlin Liu is a 21-year-old Naperville native.
And Liu rips this forehand shot.
That's him playing tennis at Neuqua Valley High School, where he was graduating.
Ooh, Naperville, Neuqua Valley plays tennis. Obviously lives on campus at UIC. He comes from a good family, is my point.
In 2022. Last week, Liu sent this scripted video to NBC, claiming responsibility for the cross burning, but saying he had no affiliation with the Ku Klux Klan, apologizing to the...
Well, that's obvious, okay? I mean, it's not so much that you have no affiliation with the Klan, but, you know, your complexion, your eye shape, I think they're gonna throw out your application. Let's just put it that way. You're not getting in, okay? It's clear. You have no affiliation with the Ku Klux Klan.
Who were offended, but saying he had no affiliation with the Ku Klux Klan, apologizing to those who were offended. In the video, he also criticized President Trump.
I don't want to wait till his term ends. I don't want to wait until he may or may not get impeached. I want him gone right now.
On that video, are you threatening him?
No.
You say that you think that he should be brought to an end.
I think...
No, this is bullshit too. We just watched it. Chuck Gowdy in the clandestine meeting just said to this kid, "You say you want him to come to an end." We'll watch it again. It's not what he said. He says, "I can't wait for his presidency to come to an end." And Chuck Gowdy tries to go somewhere. All right, watch that again.
No, I said, I want him gone right now.
On that video...
Wait until he...
President Trump.
I don't want to wait till his term ends.
I don't want to wait until his term ends. I want him gone now. And I can't, and then he follows it with, "I can't wait for impeachment," right?
I don't want to wait until he may or may not get impeached. I want him gone right now.
All right, so I want him gone right now. He's talking about it in the context of waiting till his term ends, waiting for the impeachment. What he's saying is he just wants him gone. He wants him arrested. He's not threatening the president as Chuck Gowdy tries to make it seem.
In that video, are you threatening him?
No.
You say that you think that he should be brought to an end.
You say that you think he should be brought to an end. Chuck, he never fucking said that. He did not say that, Chuck. You're putting words in. This is what they do.
I said he deserves to stand trial to the American people. Some paraphrase, I guess, but
I think you use the word end.
That's what I mean by end. I mean,
that's in the context of the administration, which he made perfectly clear in the first thing that he said.
By end, I don't mean like a civil war. If that
shit, kid, we weren't thinking that. I wasn't going there. Shit.
Is the imagery that you're trying to imagine.
Liu says he built this cross after carrying wooden slats from his near West Side apartment to Grant Park last Tuesday afternoon. He showed the red ball cap that he put on the top beam and used lighter fluid and toilet paper to get it all.
That's generic. You can get those generic red ball caps at Dollar Tree. I know where he got those. I've seen them.
Going.
I put a red hat.
I'm like, it's $1.50. It's $40 if you put "Make America Great" on it. That's the deal. So cheap Trump supporters, they buy the red hats at Dollar Tree and then they have it embroidered themselves.
To signify the MAGA hat, the "Make America Great Again" hat. So that was, yeah, that's what I had on top.
But that's not visible in the one video that was taken by a motorist.
Liu says he was protesting what he calls MAGA Christian nationalist supporters and the Trump administration ruling class.
He's just scamming people. We're just scamming out of money, right? And I think that's a great reflection of how this country works right now, where money controls everything. Money has power over healthcare. Money has power over transportation.
Chicago police and the FBI have been trying to identify him ever since.
Doesn't look like the same guy, man. I don't know. It doesn't look. This dude looks Mexican. He's got wavy hair. Now, granted, I know he's running, so maybe it's the wind causing that effect. I don't even know that this is the same guy.
Putting out this flyer with pictures of him running away. CPD labeling it an arson.
Are you surprised nobody's identified you to this point? and
A little
and
bit.
called them?
A little bit, but to me, that's not that important.
Right.
I don't really, like, to me, this issue is bigger than just myself.
Did you make it all the
Another narcissist. He's another one of these people who are so driven by their own anonymity in their desire to be something special. That's what we have a problem with in this country. We're all just grains of rice in a big giant box of minute rice. We're not special, okay? But everybody wants to be special. And the Instagram era has made, the Kardashian era has made it where everybody's got to be special. Did everybody in this country, like, did my grandpa wake up at 10 years old and go, I just want to be a star? I mean, was this always the goal for everybody in America to be famous? No, I know. I've dedicated my life to doing talk radio. So, say what you want. But seriously, everybody now. It's like, that's the goal. This guy, or special, not famous, but special, make an impact. That's what this guy is doing. He's deluded. He's deluded himself into thinking that he and only he, not unlike the president, he and only he can fix things. And this was his big moment to stand up. And you hear him in this interview talking about, this is a bigger thing. No, it's not. You're a dumb kid. When I sit here and I talk about who this show is for the 70%. And I tell you about the 15% of people on the right, the ones that have a closet full of stupid MAGA gear and just don't know anything about anything and will just only drink the Kool-Aid, that those people gone forever. That 15%, they're gone forever. They don't think straight. They don't think right. This guy's a representation of the other people on the left, who I also said 15% on the left are gone. He is this guy. Young, radicalized, insignificant, lonely young man who wants to somehow stand out. And so he's done this. I'm not even sure it's him. I'm not even sure it's him. It just doesn't look like the same guy in the camera. And that doesn't mean that some anonymous kid who fits the description that I just gave you wouldn't call NBC5 and go, I'll just admit to it, see if I can get on TV. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, here's what I do believe. I don't think this had anything to do with any greater rise of, white supremacy in the Midwest or in Chicago, because that's not a thing. This whole city is going nuts for the Obama opening, which is bringing, like, not only every president except the current one, because of course he wouldn't be respectful, bringing every president back to town for the weekend. But also, have you seen the musical acts? They're putting on a concert. It's got everybody from Eddie Vedder to Bruce Springsteen to Mariah Carey. It's massive. So stop with the whole, this was an indicator. There was a lot of that going on. There's a lot of Chicagoans are standing up. They're not putting up with it. That's not what this situation was. And I'm not even sure, after hearing this interview, I'm not even sure if I know any more than I knew when we first talked about it. All I know is that there's someone who's came forward and they're deciding that they want to be the person. The police haven't arrested him. Actually, let me see. Let me see if the police have arrested him today. Has Merlin Liu been arrested for the Chicago arson cross burning? Let's see. Now, I clearly said Merlin Liu. Yet AI is like, you mean Merlin Lube? No, I didn't say Merlin. I said, all right. Yes, okay. Turns out Merlin Liu. He has been taken into police custody in connection with the Grant Park cross burning. Chicago Police Department took him into custody on June 16th, shortly after NBC5 Chicago aired an exclusive interview. Oh, sure, the media had to get him first. Well, they had no choice. After he goes on TV and says, I did it, and again, I'm not 100% sold that he did it, and maybe the police aren't either, but the police are like, okay, I guess we got to arrest him now. Merlin Liu has been taken into police custody shortly after an exclusive interview aired by Channel 5 NBC in Chicago. During the televised interview, Liu explicitly admitted to constructing and torching the large wooden cross in broad daylight back on June the 9th. Local authorities are investigating the incident as an arson. Concurrently, the FBI are reviewing the case to determine if federal hate crime charges apply. I bet they do now. If this were a legitimate, hate crime, which it never was, some white supremacist who just got out of prison and wanted to make an impact, something like that, I don't think the FBI would have I don't think this FBI would have brought hate crime against that. I think the FBI is going to bring reverse hate crime against this dude. I think that is a no-brainer now. Now that he has explicitly said in the interview that he wants the Trump administration to end and blah, 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 he is going to be prosecuted federally under everything they can, including hate crimes. But again, I don't believe that if it was a legitimate Nazi or Klan member who did this, I think they'd find a reason. Arson's enough. I don't think, But now watch. The anti-hate crime legislation right will lean into hate crime legislation because they'll be able to get vindictive punishment on somebody, some stupid kid who may or may not have even done it. I don't care. Here's what we do know. We know he's a freaking moron. All right. Now I want to talk about another story that we discussed yesterday. And again, this is where the whole goes without saying comes from. No, actually, the goes without saying comes from two instances of stories that we covered yesterday. This one, the Major League Baseball versus the Bible story. And of course, the father, the girl dad who took the girls into the men's room. Goes without saying. But apparently we have to revisit these stories because things apparently do need to be said. Like this. So the Major League Baseball situation that I told you about yesterday was a seemed to be a protest by some players on the San Francisco Giants last Friday night. And again, this was last Friday night. I was barely going to bring it up yesterday. I'm like, God, this is like 3 days old, but I brought it up yesterday. And then all night long, this is all that everybody's talking about. I'm like, Jesus, man. Am I that ahead of the news cycle? Am I like a full 24 hours ahead of the news cycle? Because people are still buzzing about this stupid story today. But here's why they're buzzing about it. Because it's being manipulated. Because stupid people who don't really understand things and have far too much trust in randos on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, these people are now being triggered into something that isn't happening. So, goes without saying, we have to readdress the situation that occurred in San Francisco where San Francisco Giant players decided on Pride Night to write Bible verses, Genesis 9:16 or whatever, on their hats. Now, they were the special Pride Night hats. So all of these people who were supposedly protest wore the hats. Now, I told you yesterday, what did they write on the hats? Did they write something like, I hate gays, or, whatever? Something, thou shalt not lie with me. Or did they write? No, that is not what these Christian men wrote on their hats. What they did is exactly the way that we encourage people to protest. Peacefully, silently, get your point out there. And that's what they did. They wrote a Genesis Bible verse about why God created the rainbow while they're wearing rainbow hats. Now, the Bible verse of why God created the rainbow doesn't in any way conflict with the adoption of the rainbow by pride organizations. It's just like, well, I'm wearing a rainbow hat and I'm a Christian, and here's what God says about the rainbow. God says the rainbow is a covenant, a promise between him and the people of earth that he will never flood us again. The rainbow came out after the whole Noah's Ark thing, and that's all it is. It's a promise to God. It's a promise from God to love us and never do this again. That's the evil message that these guys wrote on their hats. So, again, the left went nuts simply because it's a Bible verse without ever even really sitting down and going, well, what is it that they're saying? I think what the left is saying is that they're not allowed to do this peaceful protest, this peaceful, quiet, nothing against homosexuality, just a simple reference from the Bible. Now, people who are angry about that, they had to make a bunch of jumps. They had to go, oh, the Bible, I know what they're saying. They're saying that God hates fags. That isn't what they said. They said God loves us all, and that's what the rainbow represents. That's literally the message, and the left went nuts. So I tried yesterday to come on here and say, look, calm down, man. All right, we have to agree that people are allowed to have opinions on things that are maybe not what you want them to have. That's what we do here in America. What you can't do is you don't want them to be jerks about it. We don't want them to be mean, but we do certainly whenever, from the left standpoint, we do encourage protest. We encourage standing up and saying, I don't appreciate this. So that's what they did. That's what they did. Okay. So don't get bent out of shape. It wasn't mean. It was just simply them as Christians going. Now, again, the leap is we know they're not happy. We know they're not happy. We know that they're not happy. But the way they showed it wasn't unnecessarily provocative. It just wasn't. It was them doing a silent protest where they write on their hats, and nobody should have a problem with that, except for Major League Baseball. And this is where we need to do the goes without saying, people, because yesterday it started to gain traction on the Twitters and the truths and the whatever that Major League Baseball, here's how it's presented, guys. Major League Baseball is punishing and fining Christians for Bible verses. That's the way it was presented. Everybody went nuts. Well, you got Josh Hawley, a United States senator who apparently doesn't understand and is confused. He fired off a letter to Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball. How dare you persecute the Christian ball player? Very performative, very showy, and scary for Josh Hawley, because if that's really what Josh Hawley thinks, he's stupid. Like, he's stupid. Like, he doesn't put things together. But here's what's really happening with Josh Hawley, because Josh Hawley is not stupid. Josh Hawley's very smart. What Josh Hawley knows is that he can gin everybody up, because all the people who seem to like him, he's found himself in bed with a whole nation filled with stupids. He's got the stupids, and he knows that he can just post something. Here's my letter defending the Christian faith to Rob Manfred. That's what took off yesterday. Oh, boycott baseball. Fine. You know what? You people don't seem like you're any fun at all. Don't go to games. Well, games are doing fine. Baseball's on the upswing. You don't need to be here. That's fine. You're not enjoying football anymore, are you? Nah. Oh, well. Yeah. All you folks that said you're never going to watch NFL football again, I know at least 3 of them who are diehard football fans in 2026. How's that Bud Light boycott going? Did you see Bud Light all over the fucking UFC cage at the White House? You still boycotting Bud Light? Because ain't nobody else. Stupids. Okay, so go ahead. Boycott Major League Baseball. Why is Josh Hawley and any number of attorneys general from around this country, who then fired off letters to Rob Manfred and others within Major League Baseball, what are they doing? Well, I told you. They know that the people that support their side aren't really smart and feel incredibly triggered by anything that has anything to do with their religion. So these people, these elected officials, many of them from coast to coast, all Republican, all MAGA, they decided last night. And by the way, this was when I tell you about the talking points that everybody gets, that you get these memos in your email. Here are the things we need to talk about. So every attorney general, and I think it was 10 of them following Josh Hawley, who sent a letter to Rob Manfred yesterday claiming we will defend Christian ball players. All of those people knew full well that wasn't what was happening with Major League Baseball, but they also knew that their constituency didn't, and they could just mislead their constituency, riling them up into thinking, here's another attack on Christianity. 1, Major League Baseball didn't fine anybody. They didn't fine anybody. They have in the past, and we'll get into that. They warned them. This is standard operating procedure for Major League Baseball when a player writes something on his hat. Do you believe that the San Francisco Giant players who scrawled the biblical verse on their hats, do you believe that they were warned? Let's get it right. They weren't fined. You believe that they were warned by Major League Baseball to watch it because it was biblical? Or do you believe that they were warned by Major League Baseball because you can't fucking write on your hats? As they have warned dozens and dozens of players in the past. Players most commonly get warned every year on Mother's Day. They write, hey, mom, or love, mom, or whatever on their hats. They've been getting warned by the league for that for years. People have drawn smiley faces, or one player, I was reading on AI, one player whose name I didn't even recognize, had a personal logo that he was marketing, and he had that drawn on his hat. He got warned too, because the offense isn't that these Major League Baseball players were talking about Christianity. The offense was they were writing on their uniform. It is a consistent warning. And by the way, it's only a warning because they recognized when they started having to tell people who were just saying hi to their mom that it didn't look good. So there are no fines for this. It's just a warning. Now, Barry Bonds got fined $5,000 back in 1999 for another uniform. Being out of uniform is something that Major League Baseball takes very seriously. We had problems a few years ago with the gold chains. Barry Bonds had a pad designed when he was batting that prominently displayed his logo. Another attempt to promote his logo. He got fined $5,000. But any other player over the last, I think, 25 years or something, they said, however long that this has been in place, it used to be far more draconian. They used to, facial hair used to be regulated throughout the league until like the early 1970s. Those got fines. The league, Major League Baseball, has always, as a matter of reflex, sent warnings to players who write on their uniform in any way. Wearing too much gold, same thing. Wearing personal branding, same thing. This is not about Major League Baseball going after Christians. It is about Major League Baseball being consistent in the way that they have over the years whenever a player writes on his uniform. This isn't the first time. And Josh Hawley knows that. And every attorney general that fired off a letter to Rob Manfred and then quickly promoted it on their socials knows that too. They're not stupid. They understand that this is a uniform violation and not specifically punishment for being Christian. But their audience doesn't. And they are willing to gin people up with lies. And that shouldn't have had to be said. I should have gone without saying that this was a uniform code violation and not just another example of the war on Christians. So stupid, man. It's so stupid. And these people, Josh Hawley, the most high profile of all of them. I mean, most of them were just a bunch of attorneys general. And again, I say to you, do you think that they all had the same epiphany? I'm going to fire off this letter. Or do you think there was an email that said, you should all fire off letters? And here's the wording, because they're all exactly the fucking same. All right. Our politicians are constantly manipulating us. The media with the clandestine meeting in the park, everything is a manipulation. Everything is, these people are stupid peasants. We can make them believe whatever we want. Goes without saying. That was fun. That was a good one. That got me going. I feel good. That's what I need. I need something like that. All right, so just let's put this to an end. Major League Baseball is not persecuting Christians. Major League Baseball is doing the same thing they've always done when a player writes on his uniform. Boom! Moving on. Let's get into the UFC terror plot. This was wild. This is okay. So yesterday, I told you about the. Did we get into the plan yesterday? I think they did. I think they told us the plan. So the plan was a bunch of yahoos. Bunch of virgin incels, I have to imagine, met in some, weird group. I don't know. Like, what do we do? They're like, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Too many freedoms online. There's too many freedoms online, man. We made it too easy for the absolute worst people to get together and share terrible ideas. Speaking of, that's kind of the crux of what we're going to talk about today as it concerns the thwarted attack on UFC Freedom 250 held at the White House on Sunday night. It was revealed yesterday by the FBI. Kash Patel. You still got a job, dude? He's still in charge? All right, good for you. Kash Patel made it public. That that could have been bad. The UFC 250 could have been bad. We just arrested a dude in Ohio who had this big crazy plan. So here was the plan. Drones were going to be involved. I think drones were going to detonate over the White House. I think yesterday I said they were going to crash into something. I don't know. I don't know how drone warfare works, right? Certainly not, domesticated drone warfare. So anyway, I guess the plan was the drones were going to blow up over the cage, causing everyone to scurry like rats. They would then, theoretically, I guess, in the minds of these guys, they would be funneled out one exit. They would all go out one exit, running and scurrying into the streets, at which point they would detonate other explosives, causing anyone going left to have to go right. So get it? They would corral the people in one direction, where they would all run into apparently a sniper's nest, where all great plan. Oh, that sounds good. Here's the problem. They arrested some 19-year-old who looks really like a guy in his 40s who has lived hard, but it's a 19-year-old. We showed the picture of him yesterday. So they arrested him in Ohio. They got some more guys in California. We'll get to them in a minute. But here's the problem. The Secret Service is livid at the FBI. The Secret Service and the FBI are at war today because the Secret Service did not want that revealed. The Secret Service didn't want it revealed for any number of reasons that I'm sure the Secret Service are expert at, protecting the president and the White House. But the Secret Service are pissed because the FBI just apparently offered that without going through the normal checks and balances, of which the Secret Service would have said, no, we're not going to make that public. Look, our job is to protect the White House. We are not going to. But Kash Patel, he needed to get some clicks. So he needed to put that out there so that he looked like the big badass. Yesterday, I said that it's just so gross because I imagine that this FBI in particular, they are going to run to the forefront with anything that didn't happen and claim that it didn't happen because they're so good at their jobs. That's exactly what they did. And the Secret Service was like, no. Probably because they don't want to put these stupid ideas out there that this one almost happened or whatever. Makes sense. So there you go. The FBI made it public and now everybody's running with it. So we've got details. I told you they arrested more people in California. So let's get you up to date on this one. Here, you know what? We're going to show you because I guess there's good pictures. So here. We'll just go. You know what we'll do? We'll do the Post. Yeah, New York Post always has the best pictures. Oh my God, that is a newspaper for just the absolute dumbest people. But it's fun because they do a lot of pictures. Oh, and if there's a sex scandal, you better believe that the New York Post is going to have the best details. All right, let me show you these guys. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's UFC 250. Look at that, and we'll get the story pulled up. What do I want to use? I may as well. All right, I may as well use the Post. Why not? We don't care. Oh, breaking news. We've got some breaking news thanks to the New York Post. It's not up there. Here. Breaking news. Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann has been sentenced to life in prison without parole. We need the guy that just killed all the prostitutes on the beach and then went home to his family and was like, what are we watching? Yeah. I like to, I'm not up on Rex Heuermann. I haven't caught up to him yet because, I am one of the nation's foremost authorities on serial killers. I love serial killers. Well, you know what I mean? I don't love serial killers. Fascinated by them. Just fascinated. I grew up in the specter of Gacy. Gacy was my boogeyman. Gacy was a couple of towns over. He was in the area. But for the grace of God, I could have ended up in a crawl space, and I didn't. That specter hung large over me and everybody who grew up in my generation in Chicago. Gacy was the boogeyman. Then, of course, one of my first breakthroughs as a radio personality was the Dahmer situation. Oh, God. Hold on. Hey, guys. I just had a problem. My Zoom box isn't working. Yay. So, hold on. We're going to have to go quiet for a minute. Hey, smoke them if you got them. Ah, damn it. You know what? All right, I'm not going to fix the Zoom box. How is the sound? Is the sound okay? Can we muscle through the rest of the show? I just need to make sure that the microphones are working. Okay, so we'll do this before we move on to the next story. We'll go back. We'll backtrack. Frankie wants to bait the hook. Let's go. Weird how other players over the last 10 years haven't received a penalty for writing on their hats. What the fuck are you talking about, Frank? Are you ready for the list? Many players have been. I listed what players had been fined for. Hi, Mom. Stop cancer. Somebody was warned over stop cancer on their hat. Frank, it's not weird. You just don't know. So because you don't know, you think, oh, God, see what we're doing? Jesus, what is it weird how other players... All right, Barney. Barney says that plan was more complicated than the invasion of Venezuela. Yes, Barney. Barney talking about, of course, what we're moving on to. Thank you. Sounds good. All right, as long as the sound is working, then we'll continue on with the story. Yes, the plan to blow up the UFC 250 celebration was fairly complicated for a bunch of like rubes in a chat room. California terror ring has been they're a terror ring. It's like three guys. Two of them work at Home Depot together. The other one's unemployed, but they're a terror ring. California terror ring busted over White House UFC drone plot as suspects' twisted motive has been revealed by the FBI. Yeah. And by the way, I got to tell you, Secret Service is not happy. Two California men have been identified as suspects in the foiled terror plot targeting the UFC event at the White House, including one of the alleged masterminds, according to an arrest affidavit first reported by Fox News. Michael Allen Thomas allegedly told investigators that he believed the U.S. government was controlled by elites who sacrifice and eat children, had ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, and were being protected by President Trump, the document states. So this is a good example of the guy. These guys voted for Trump. These guys obviously are Trump supporters until the Epstein thing went down, which is a lot of the crazy Q-based following that made up MAGA in the early stages. They have kind of left. And now they want to blow up fights at the White House. All right. Michael Allen Thomas, that's what we're talking about here. He said that he did it because elites are sacrificing and eating children, and they all have ties to Jeffrey Epstein. All right, let's go through that because I have to tell you, I still don't believe that elites are eating children. I've seen the crazy pictures that go around of here's a kindergartner being eaten by Jeffrey Epstein and a bunch of his friends. Yeah, I've seen those pictures. They're not real. Let me put it to you this way. I refuse to take another breath in a world where those are real. So that's my choice, okay? My choice is those pictures are real. So I don't believe that the elites are eating children. I don't believe that Tom Hanks and who's the other one? Steven Spielberg are behind the world's largest child porn production company. I don't believe that. All of those crazy ass QAnon things that for me very early on made me against Trump because I saw the people who were supporting him and I went, yeah, no, I can't caucus with them. That is so whatever. If they're seeing something in this, that was really one of the, because in the beginning, when he started to gain traction, I was like, this guy could be fun. Maybe this guy will do it. And then I realized that, oh my God, he is just cultivating a following of the absolute worst and dumbest. Point being, and meanest. I should say that because I got a lot of friends and I won't say his name, but my buddy always goes, you think I'm fucking dumb? Do you think I'm stupid? And I really don't think he's stupid. In fact, I know that he's smart and his brain impresses me. What I do think is he's mean. that's the thing. People who are smart, who are way into this and, are dialed, they're just mean people. He's just a mean guy. I like him because he's not mean to me, but, I can see that he's a mean guy. Point is this, these were sort of the QAnon crowd that once would have, walked through fire for this man because he was going to expose all the pedophiles. So we've gone through the crazy stuff that they think that I never believed, the eating of the children. But man, it's 2026. And all of the stuff that these crazy people were saying about links to Trump and there being this cabal of influence, the cabal of elitists, who were, pedophiles. Man, it's 2026. That's clear. That is absolutely clear. And it's been made so clear to me simply by the behavior of this president when this subject comes up. This president, he said for years on the campaign trail, we're going to get to the bottom of this, we're going to get to the bottom of this. And he used it as a way to stir people up. And then when push came to shove, it became clear to anybody, logical, that there was a cover-up happening. I could list 5 things, but the most glaring one is the Ghislaine Maxwell situation. Why on earth was she moved from a maximum security prison? Nobody had a problem with this woman who was convicted of global sex trafficking being placed in a maximum security prison where somebody like that should be. Nobody had a problem with that. And then all of a sudden, the Trump administration moves her to a cushy minimum security women's prison? Like I said, I could list a whole bunch of things that make me look at this president and go, you're covering up for a pedophile. But that's the most glaring. Why do we have to go into anymore? So when these crazies, these QAnon crazies who believe a whole bunch of shit that I don't believe, but, it's even a blind squirrel. I think they're right on this. I just don't know. I just don't know that they have credibility in anything else. All right, so let's keep going here. Are these the pictures? Are we seeing the pictures? Hold on. All right, there's a gun. That's fun. Oh no, we're not moving the pictures. Hold on. Sorry. I got my pages confused. All right, so there's one of the guns that they found, but anybody can get guns. Let me tell you about the California people. Authorities say that Thomas, that's this guy, what was his name again? Michael Allen Thomas. Authorities say that Thomas was among the alleged ringleaders of the scheme and that agents recovered screenshots of Signal group chats discussing the attack. What is Signal? I'm not a criminal. I'm not into like kitty porn, or I don't know what Signal, something that like drug dealers and dark web. What is Signal? I think that's the one that disappears. Is that the one that disappears, or is that Snapchat? I don't know. Anyway, it's probably just a highly encrypted messaging service. Is that what Signal is? I'm guessing. Authorities say that Thomas was among the alleged ringleaders of the scheme, and agents recovered screenshots of Signal group chats discussing the attack, including maps of the event grounds and suggested sniper positions. Another man, Brian Omar Hoa. I don't know. I just always think it's going to be white guys. One of them is definitely a white guy. I just always think it'll be a, group of white guys. But no, look at this. We got another, apparently, Brian Omar Oha. He was also arrested that ain't a white guy name is my point. He was also arrested in California. The multi-phase terror attack involved explosive-laden drone aircraft meant to strike buildings in the vicinity of the event, sparking mass panic and driving the fleeing crowd towards a sniper team. A sniper team poised to pick victims off, officials said. Tyson Proper, we talked about him. Tyson Proper. Tyson Proper was the guy we saw yesterday. He was arrested in Ohio. So you got these California guys. Here, look, got some pictures. Here are the screenshots. I honestly don't know what this is, makes them guilty of, but you got screenshots. They got screenshots of the White House lawn or grounds, it looks like. Original message not found. So we don't actually have. All right. So it looks like they're planning something. What's this one say? It says, this is the best action I see. Position your teams in the purple dots, counter sniper and drones. Aren't these just video game guys? Was this a real thing? Were any of these guys actually going to leave their house? Do these guys have working credit cards that they could check into a hotel in Washington? What was the planning here? I don't know. Anyway, we've got a whole bunch of people being arrested now for this thing that didn't happen. So congratulations to the Secret Service. Or I guess the FBI. The Secret Service is pissed at them. The FBI saved us all. It could have been terrible. And here we are. All right, what else do we want to do here? Let's see. Rolling through. We did the terror plot. Okay, let's talk about the girl dad. Again, another example of the goes without saying. Got to bring stories back that I covered, I thought, extensively yesterday, and now we got to bring them back. I showed you the video of the dad and his two little girls. And when I say little girls, I mean little girls. I mean 4, like 4 and 6. I don't know how old they are. They're little. They're little kids. Girl dad is on the road. They're just crossing through. I guess this happened in Alabama because of course it did. So they're just driving through, and little girl's got to go to the bathroom. You know, hey, girls, need to stop? Okay, so you see the gas station. You see the truck stop gas station, whatever. I think they said it was a QT. I don't know. I like a good QT. QT's got good ice. QT's got like the good Sonic ice. Point being, dad stops at the rest stop, and he goes in there, and girls need to go to the bathroom. Now, this is a dad with 2 little girls. This is the goes without saying part that I didn't even talk about yesterday because I thought it was just obvious. A dad with 2 little girls is not going to take the little girls into a men's room with urinals where possible dudes with their dicks hanging out are right there when you walk in. And there may or may not even be a stall because men's rooms are absolute hellscapes of degradation. That's not on the table. Taking your daughters into the men's room. Yet everybody online, after seeing the same thing that we watched yesterday, not everybody, a lot of idiots online are like, well, he's a dad. He needs to take them into the men's room. Yeah, I bet you'd like that, pervert, bathroom creeper. I would never in a million years, if I was in charge of 2 little girls, think that when we had to go to the bathroom, that they were going to go to the men's room. Expose them to weird men and the urinal thing. What is wrong with you? Women's bathrooms are always doors. They're always, what do they call them? Stalls with doors. Because women don't use urinals. So there ain't going to be like swinging dicks just like, oh, hey, little girl. That is absurd. And what kind of a broken moron thinks that needs to be pointed out? But apparently, it doesn't go without saying. We've got to say that when you have 2 little girls, you are not under any circumstances taking them into the men's room. It is always only the women's room as an option. How is this not clear? You're also worried about, people being victimized, and yet you're trying to lure little 4-year-olds into a trucker rest stop bathroom. Are you nuts? So, okay, goes without saying. But that's the pushback on this. The pushback was, well, that dad shouldn't have been in the women's bathroom. Well, we walked you through what the dad did, and the dad did the right thing. He came in. He made sure no one was in there. He cleared it with the manager, who then stood by the door as he brought his 2 little girls into the bathroom. That's how you do it. And then, of course, this guy, we got his name. What's his name? I have no problem putting this. Robert Buckner of Starksville, Mississippi is the guy. Robert Buckner shows up, and he's got his wife. And apparently she needs to go to the bathroom. And he walks in, and he sees the manager there saying, no, somebody's in there. You're going to have to wait. Well, you don't tell Robert Buckner of Starksville, Mississippi that he needs to wait at a public restroom. And once he found out why he was waiting, oh, it was over. And we watched the video, and I don't think we need to watch it again. Do we? Should we? I don't know. We don't need to watch it. You saw it. But he's been identified. He's the father of 4. He owns a real estate company, which is apparently going through some things because absolutely every way to contact Robert Buckner of Mississippi is now closed and private. So I imagine that the onslaught of public response to him being an asshole kind of got to him. He's also partners in a business in Prosper, Texas. But it's a stupid business. It's like a wellness center kind of a thing. The entitlement on him, speaking to that father of 2 little girls, when the little girls started to cry, and the little girls cried throughout the entire video. When the little girls started to cry, don't you, as a man, back off? Don't you rethink it for a second? No. That's not Robert. That's not Robert Buckner of Starksville. He doubles down. Bathrooms are sacred places. What the fuck are you, Robert, doing with your head halfway in the women's bathroom? You get the fuck out of here. These are little girls trying to use the bath. Seriously, how come that was never pointed out? That this guy seemed to be halfway into the women's bathroom complaining about how the other guy doesn't belong in the women's bathroom, even though it's clear he does. And it's clear that he did all the right things. So anyway, goes without saying, under no circumstance ever should a father on the road with two little girls consider taking them into the men's room at a truck stop. That is just something that a stupid person would think. Or somebody who watches nothing but Fox News for the last 20 years. And that's what we got from Robert Buckner, bathroom warrior. I mean, the dad himself, the dad was even wearing he's like a Christian dad. Like had a cross. Did you see it's all right. Hold on. Do we have anything new on this? I think we do. We got an update. Nah, I don't want to show that. There's this guy who outs people, and I don't really want to do that. All right. So there you have it. Anyway, Robert Buckner of Starksville, Mississippi. Do with that information what you want, but you probably shouldn't. Probably shouldn't harass him. That wouldn't be a good thing. But you know his name, and I guess that's the next thing, right? Is that right? Yeah. I don't think we need to go out and publish his address or anything about his children or anything. But no, I think that dude needed to be identified. I think that Robert Buckner and his personal universe needs to be humiliated for the next couple of weeks. I think that people for the near future, whenever anybody in Starksville, Mississippi sees him, goes, "Oh, that's the asshole from the viral video." That should be his punishment. And his business should suffer. His business should absolutely suffer. You're a businessman. He's got his name all over shit. He is very publicly acting a fool, and it's going viral. He knows this. You're a business owner. It's 2026. Don't act like an asshole in public. It could affect your business. Word to the wise. Goes without saying. But no, he didn't care. So now his little real estate business there in Starkville seems to be having some troubles, and I couldn't be happier. Barney's got some hot takes on QT. He says QT ruined their coffee. I don't want that gourmet nonsense. I want cheap powered cappuccino bonus points. I don't know anything about that. You sound like a girl. That's guy drink black coffee, just black and bold. Like I want the darkest coffee I can get. I want coffee to be a kick in the face every morning. I was thinking, and I don't know if QT's got, who's got good coffee? Who's got really good coffee? McDonald's. McDonald's has good coffee, and you would think it would be watered down and no, McDonald's got good coffee, and it's like $1 or something. And it's just as big as like a venti from, Starbucks that costs like $3 or $4. That's a scam. That's a scam. All right. Let's see. What else do we have to do here? Let's talk about, we did that. Oh, here's another video. Oh, here's a video. Look, this is sort of a companion video. Here's an old Karen. This isn't, look now, I love old people. I really do. I know old people are easy to hate. And yesterday, didn't we have a conversation about boomers? I think that our old people are awesome. I think that they're tired. I think that they've been through a lot, and it's unfair for the new generation, specifically Gen Z or even some younger millennials, to just sit there and go like, they ruined this country. I mean, we all collectively ruined this country. Okay, yes, they are the ones on the hook for the past 40 years. But we're still a superpower. It's not like they destroyed our country. If any generation could be blamed for the destruction of America, it very well may be this current one. Whoever is pulling the levers and casting the votes here. Because I think we've done way more damage to this country than the boomers ever did. Unless you want to say, now these are just the boomers. This is just the extension of the boomers. I don't know. I think that Venn diagram of blame of how we got here in this moment, there are a whole lot of people. White suburban women. Yeah, it's like a whole bunch of people we can blame. So let's lay off the boomers. However, sometimes they're just mean. Sometimes they're just mean, and I don't know why. We've got another video concerning children doing children thing. Yeah, yesterday or today, as we just finished up the recap on, we talked about the bathroom, the girl dad bringing the two little girls on the road trip into the bathroom and the kind of nonsense that they have to put up with because of what's been created in modern society. Well, today I'm going to show you another example of two kids, just kids being kids. I almost said stupid kids. They're not being stupid kids. They're being kids. This is just what kids do. You know what they were doing? They were drawing on the sidewalk with chalk. Just little kids making a hopscotch thing. Or I don't know, maybe they were drawing pictures. It doesn't matter. They legitimately sell packages of colored sidewalk chalk for kids to play with. That's how normalized the practice of a kid drawing on a sidewalk with chalk is. It's big business. It's generationally consistent going back since hopscotch was invented, right? All right, so let's watch this video. We've got an old woman, a Karen, who, is throwing down using all the most awful buzzwords like HOA and shit like that. She even goes racial because, of course, she did. Because old people, if you want to say something about old people, and I get this with my mom too, and they can't help it. They cannot help it. I don't think it's racism. I just think it's a result of the way they were raised, where everybody's ethnicity, culture, or skin tone was first and foremost the thing in the way you identified them. Right? Like my mom will be like, she'll be like, so I was at the store and this Mexican lady was ringing me up. I'm like, well, how about just the lady? Like, why she got to be like, she's in the hospital. She's like, I'm in the hospital. I got this Indian that comes and does, but I go, Indian? Why does that matter? And my mom is like as progressive and open-minded and cool, and she doesn't mean it in any way. It's just, where she comes from. You are proud of and defined by your ethnicity or your culture, and it's never been a problem, right? So anyway, it's everything with her is that. Well, this old woman in the video we're about to see, it takes her, I'd say about halfway into the frustration level of her arguing about whether or not kids should be allowed to draw on the sidewalk. About halfway in is where she comes up with the racial shit. Yeah, but you better believe it. She goes racial. Here we go. This is the video. This is an old Karen. Let's watch it. It's pretty long. It goes on. So I'll pause it and we'll break it down and talk about it. This video also features her husband, who has probably been putting up with her shit for 60 years. And he seems like this ain't the first time he's had to pull his irate Karen wife away from somebody. Anyway, here you have it. This is a fun one. Another mean person being mean to kids. This old lady, remember, she's upset about this man's children drawing on the drive. By the way, it's his driveway. They drew on his driveway, and this is a neighbor woman who's got a problem because it doesn't look good. She's also in his garage. She is in his house doing this.
Then report to the HOA.
Okay. Come on. You son of a Marilyn, come on. You won't even tell your kids to stop it. Where's your wife? She's a nice person. She talks nice. Where is Janine? Can you get her out here?
No, I cannot. Get out of my house, please.
It's your house? Oh, well, that's good to know.
Get out of my house.
Okay, we're leaving.
And the husband's like, okay, we're leaving. Okay, all right. Like the husband's been here before. He doesn't want to be involved here. He's got no problem with this guy. They live next door to each other. But he also knows that, taking the other one's side when the wife is going nuts, that's a lose-lose for him. So he's just trying to remove her from the situation. Again, they've probably been married 60 years.
Tell your kids to stop it or else I'm gonna... Oh.
You're gonna do what? You're gonna do what? You're gonna do what?
You live here?
Sir, take your wife home, man. I'm serious. Take your wife home.
You're such an unfriendly person that I knew I couldn't talk to you.
Get your hand off my car, please. Get your hand off my car. Get your hand.
These old people, they don't think anything. Like this is, she's doing something to his car. Think she could just get away with it. You can't do. She's being a bitch. This old woman is a bitch, man. She has no fear, though. I do kind of respect that. This old lady has no fear. She does not think that anyone is going to punch her in the face. She is just, this is what never having been punched in the face looks like.
Off my car.
Okay.
Okay, your video is going online.
Oh, you're son of a...
I love her response to that. He's like, okay, your video's going online. And her response is, oh, you son of a bitch. She doesn't know really what that means because she's not on Twitter or anything, but she does know it's bad. She's like, oh, you son of... She knows it's bad. Not fully familiar with, how this is going to play out for her in the next few days, which, by the way, I hope nobody, we don't need to out her. We don't need to know her name. She's not Robert Buckner from Starksville, Mississippi. This is an old woman who's just doing old woman things.
My car. Get your hand off my car.
Okay.
Okay, your video is going online.
Oh, you're son of a... I don't think you live here because I saw you have slanted eyes.
Oh, there we go. I don't think you live here because you have slanted eyes. Yeah, they always go there. It's just a generational thing. I don't know when it stopped. I don't think it stopped with Gen X. I think I still do it. I think maybe this is a millennial thing where everybody stopped being first and foremost branded by their most obvious trait, whether it's an ethnicity or a skin color or whatever.
And I talked to a...
Slanted eyes? Wow, that's racist. Wow. Slanted eyes.
See, the husband knows it's going somewhere bad. The husband's like, oh, this is being recorded, and now she's racist. All right, let's get her out of here.
Wow.
Well, when Janine comes home, I'd like to talk to her.
Can I tell you the biggest problem that I have with this? This is a very personal problem that I have with this. Not in behavior. Not in behavior one bit. But this woman is the spitting image of my grandma. She is the spitting image of my grandmother. She looks exactly like my grandmother. And that's why I'm just so fascinated. And my grandma was cool. So, well, my grandma was a battle axe, but she was cool because she was my grandma and I loved her. But she wasn't like this. Like my grandma would never do this, is my point. Anyway, this woman, it's distracting me how much she looks like my grandma. If my mom is watching this right now, and she's probably not, but on the off chance that she does have it pulled up, my mom is right now going, oh my God, that looks just like grandma.
Wow. Slanted eyes. Keep going.
My grandma probably would have gone with the slanted eyes comment, though, but I just don't think my grandma would have found herself in this situation because I don't see her having a problem with kids playing on the street.
Keep going. I gave you plenty of chances.
Well, you have nice kids and you have a nice wife.
Well, apparently they're not nice when they're just coloring chalk on the sidewalk.
The sidewalk. That's the
Is
alley.
it bothering you? What's bothering you about this?
Because it looks like...
Oh, so I have nice kids, but their drawing looks like...
No, you're...
No, wait, let me tell you something. You're not supposed to do this. The association finds out the...
All right, here now the association's being brought up. We got it right there in the paperwork. Kids can't draw. Kids can't do hopscotch on the sidewalk here because we're an HOA and we are a nice place to live. I would argue that kids playing hopscotch on a sidewalk is an indication of a nice place to live, but okay.
The entire neighborhood has zero problem with it except you.
Okay.
You have had a problem with me since I moved in here.
No,
Because he's got the slanted eyes.
we saw a guy that didn't have slanted eyes.
I was only kidding. I didn't think she was going to go there again. That is her problem with him. She didn't know he had slanted eyes when he moved in.
Again, moved in here, no problem with it except you.
Okay.
You have had a problem with me since I moved in here.
No, we saw a guy that didn't have slanted eyes.
Oh, and again, slanted eyes. Here we go again.
Here we go.
Here we go again. Please take your wife home, sir.
I'm looking at her here. Okay, I'm not even kidding. My grandma was much prettier than this one. This woman has a mean face. My grandma was a very pretty woman in her younger days. So yeah, but the body, the hair, I don't know. Just it's very reminiscent of my grandma.
Please take your wife home, sir.
Leave this guy alone.
Please take your wife home, sir.
Well, we're calling the association.
Please do. Please do. I'm friends with the president.
It's all down in front of our place.
Oh no!
I'm gonna get a...
Oh my God! Oh, the next time it rains. Seriously. I mean, right. Let's cut to the chase here. It is strange for someone to be this viscerally affected by the sight of children drawing with chalk on a sidewalk, right? I mean, isn't that normal?
And a brush, and tell your kids to come out here and
Good luck trying.
Oh, okay. So she said, I'm going to get a pail and a brush. I'm going to get your kids down here and I'll make them clean. And he's like, yeah, nice. Yeah, good luck with that. you ain't putting my kid. What does she think? Does she live in a world? I guess she does. Is that something you could have done in 1955? Could you have just like grabbed some other person's kid by the back of their hair, in the back of the neck, and like made them do labor? Probably. I bet you could in 1955. Well, you can't in 2026.
Good luck trying. Over my dead body. You touch my kids, you touch my kids, you're gonna see something else. You touch my kids, you're gonna see something coming. I'm telling you right now.
I'm not gonna touch your kids. You have nice little boys.
Yeah, except the dad has slanted eyes, right? Get the hell out of my house. Get the hell out of my house. Sir, last chance before I pepper spray her.
You can't pepper spray her. You can look, if he pepper sprayed her, that would immediately turn the table. No way. You got to just put up with this. And I'll tell you, husband, he needs to be better. You think he'd be better after 60 years of this? He just keeps letting her get loose. And then she walks right back into the garage. That's it. All right, there we have it. That is today's offering of just people being assholes for absolutely no reason. What do you think was behind that? Like she had to have said, like, has she done this before? Like throughout in the 90s? Like when she lived somewhere else? Did she scream at the kids for doing hopscotch and stuff like that? I don't know. It's strange. It struck me as such a strange thing to have that kind of a reaction to. But if you're a horrible, miserable people, the very sight of children having fun while you near the end of your life, By the way, how old was she? Because that woman seems like 20 years older than my mom. And my mom, that is a old woman in the classic mode. I don't know that we have old women who still have the Betty White hairdo. Remember, every old woman, I'd say between 1980 and 20, let's just say 2010, every woman over 80 had the same haircut. It was like a little cotton top, right? The little that. Every woman had that. Woman still got that haircut. We don't see many women with that haircut anymore. Maybe that's why I think my mom, because my mom isn't old. My mom is, my mom is a mid-boomer. She's not old, but my mom looks like 20 years younger than that woman. And I have to imagine that woman is at least within 10, 15 years of my mom. I don't know. Anyway, that haircut, she's hanging on to the haircut. That's very good. Frankie wants to echo my sentiment that McDonald's coffee is pretty good. Yeah, it is, Frankie. It's very good. Barney in the chat room. Barney says, the best days of my job are when I get to inform an old upper middle class white woman that she in fact cannot bend the world to her will through the power of her indignation. I bet that is fun. I bet you that would be really, really, that puts a little bounce in your step, huh, Barney? All right. What else do we want to get into here today? Is it? Okay, we'll do one more. Do I want to do this, or do I want to this? Well, I almost have to just show it now. But okay, so this is no, I don't want to show it. I am not. It's. All right, I'm going to show it. All right, I got a way that I can present it because it makes me uncomfortable, but whatever. They're fine, I guess. All right, so here's a little piece of video. This comes to us from somewhere in Asia. Okay, it ain't here. I don't know where it is. I would just like to generically say China, but I don't know. This could be like Manila, Singapore, wherever. I don't know. So you know how influencers are really irritating? How we just like whenever I see there's a spectrum of influencers. There are the ones who are just irritating, who try to trigger you into a reaction so that they can film it for their live stream. And then there are like the chuds, like the Chud, was it Chud the Builder? Was that his name? God, we've forgotten already. Then there's like that guy who's just seriously out there deserving of an ass kicking. But whenever I see these influencers doing these things, I'm always like, somebody needs to smack them. Somebody just needs to smack them. Well, here we have a situation where it's a female influencer and somebody does smack her, and I just don't feel good about it, even though I hate influencers and think that influencers, especially when they're out in the public, engaging with us, using us for their own, I fucking hate that. This influencer, she was apparently in a fast food restaurant, and I guess her bit is that she loudly makes fun of people around her. That's the bit for clicks, and she's really popular. And so she was doing that bit at this fast food restaurant where she was, I guess, trying to loudly humiliate, at least that's what the description of her style says, loudly humiliate this man who was there with a woman. I don't know if he's with a woman or a daughter. I don't know. But here you go. Okay, so that's what happened. So she's doing her Insta live stream bit where she just goes in public and insults people or says things to make fun of them. Oh yeah. Oh God. This is why I don't want to show it. And then he spits on her. Come back for more. One more time. Oh, Jesus! Would you look at this? This is animalistic. All right, this is why I didn't want to show it. But I wanted to be, you know, if this were a guy getting his ass kicked for doing that bit, I wouldn't have a problem with it at all. But obviously, I have a problem with this. I just don't think you hit women. I just think in this situation, you know, you get up and you leave. But there is a part of me that's like, God, this needs to happen more to influencers. People who are out there using us, trying to humiliate us for their own clicks, for their own glory, whatever it is that they're doing. These people do need to be regulated, but this is absolutely disgusting. And I am thrown by the animalistic behavior of this man. Look at this man. And let's see it again. Is he with his daughter or with his wife? Imagine what he is like when he doesn't get his own way in his living room. This is in public. He was completely comfortable doing this in public. This appears to me now, again, like I said yesterday, I have no idea with Asian girls. I don't know if she's 12 or 38. You know, that's just, but she looks very young. She looks vulnerable. She looks petite, right? So just the very idea that you could just instinctively react this way. You're an animal. This is somebody raised in a completely different culture than ours. All right, I'm trying to figure out, is this a little girl? Like, is this his daughter or is this a date that he's on? Here he comes. See right now? Oh, and he smacks her right away. And these are open-handed. These are slaps. He's not going to do any like bone damage or anything. He could break her nose for sure and cause her, you know, all kinds of pain. This coming up is the big problem I have. He just spit in her face. Now that. Yeah, all right. All right. See, now you know why I didn't want to show that, because now I feel like we're in a weird space. But I did think it was interesting when I saw it. I was like, you know, if that was a guy, I'd be totally okay with this. But it's not. It's a girl. I don't know what that makes me. Does that make me a misogynist? What does that make me? Other than a normal person who thinks that a man should never hit a woman. Certainly not like that. What about self-defense? Oh, shut up and stop moving the goalpost. You know what I'm talking about. You're being disingenuous. The woman is coming at a man with a knife or, you know, flailing her hands. Of course, a man has a right to defend himself. But this was not that. This was just a guy who has no problem tuning up women. And I don't know, I just found it very uncomfortable. Okay, so let's get rid of that. I don't want to do that anymore. Let's move on to 3 videos. 3 videos is one of the final segments that we do every day here on the show. I like to show you 3 pieces of video. See, that was almost a part of the 3 videos, what we just watched, but I thought that's too dark. I don't even want to do it. And I didn't even know it was going to be there on the rundown until I just stumbled on it. And I'm like, oh shit, that's next. Do I want to do it? No. And then we had that whole thing. You saw me go through the debate, and then I decided to show it to you. And now we're here. Now we're here where I'm like, well, that video was a mood kill. Let's do 3 videos. 3 videos. These are fun. This is a special edition of 3 videos. We're going to call it the 80s edition of 3 videos. Now, if you're like me and you spend quite a bit of time in the 80s, 10 years, I think, then you may get a kick out of this. It's 3 videos all having to do with the 1980s. Now, the first one I want to show you is a news report. This is a news report that came out. I don't know where it came out. It's from the 1980s. But it is a news report trying to hip parents to the slang the kids are using in the 80s. Hey, Mom, are you confused by some of the words your kid uses? All right, this is us. They're talking about us. So they did this whole vocabulary thing on like words that 80s kids use. And I shit you not, folks, not a single one of them have I ever heard of before. This entire segment, I think, was made up. But anyway, let's watch it. Here's a video, news segment from, this is from 19... Oh, this is actually from 1990. All right, whatever, 89, 90, whatever. Here is some slang. Here you go. This is a news report. Let's watch this. And again, tell me, am I wrong? Anybody who's relatively in my same age group or remembers the 1980s, have you used any of these words before?
If you've stayed up with the times, you know that awesome or big time will get the point across as in, that was an awesome evening segment I just saw. Well, here are some other phrases you'll want to know if you want to be sure to sound hip in the 90s. Yo, a greeting. Yo, Curb, what's...
Yo? Was that yo? Okay, now obviously we've all heard of yo. Okay, so but yo? I don't know. Really? We invented that? Yo?
What's up? Clutch the pearls, said in amazement or disbelief.
Well, you know he's married. Clutch the pearls.
We never used that. That was not a thing. Now, if they had done like gag me with a spoon or something or grody, I'd be like, yeah, that's things that people said. Clutch the pearls. I mean, I use that term now. I call people pearl clutchers, but I don't use it in this way. And I didn't really even use it regularly until the Twitter age, stop pearl clutching. So I don't know. This is bullshit. We didn't say this.
Bucked. In the 80s, it was just wasted.
I don't know how many I had, but boy, did I get bucked. I sure felt it the next morning. That was really the worst thing I'd ever done.
Absolutely not anything that anybody that I've ever met has ever said. Oh, dude, did I get bucked? No, it's wasted. Fucked up. Bucked is not anything that we ever said.
I hope you didn't drive home. No way.
MacGyver, as in the TV show where the impossible is often accomplished. I can't believe you got off that speeding ticket. What a MacGyver. Norville.
All right, I don't know that MacGyver is used, but never like that, right? It's not, what a MacGyver. It's, you've MacGyvered something. It's never like, oh yeah, I had to put it together. I ended up MacGyvering it. That's how it's used. We don't use it in that. I don't know. At least I didn't, and maybe I'm wrong. I was raised in the Midwest. These are not terms that we ever use.
I can't believe you got off that speeding ticket. What a MacGyver. Norville, to secretly undermine.
What? I can't believe she stole your job. You've really been Norville.
Not a thing. Not a thing. First of all, I can't even understand what this girl's saying. I think she said, what? You got passed over for the job? You got Norvilled. Maybe it would have been nice if they would have provided some etymology on the word. Like, where does Norvilled come from? That's kind of weird. Not anything I've ever been familiar with.
Black & Decker, or a real tough assignment. You get the analogy, right?
This job is a real grind. It's just a Black & Decker.
Nope, not something we ever said. Not a saying. I am telling you, they made these up. A group of people went, we should do a story about new sayings, and we should try and start some new sayings. That's what it is. This is a 1990 version of this news team trying to make fetch happen. They're just introducing new words.
Some phrases may be around forever.
Well, look, I gotta run. Peace.
Bye.
You can't claim that one. Peace, that's clearly a hippie thing, okay? And peace out is a more Gen X, millennial, late 90s, peace out kind of a thing. But this is not something you can claim at.
May be around forever.
Well, look, I gotta run. Peace.
Bye, Tom.
Bye, Tom.
One last word for words of the 90s. You got to remember that hips.
Hey, ladies in the chat room, I got to ask you something because I'm looking at this guy and I find him to be incredibly unique looking. First of all, I think at first I'm like, is that Grant Goody from 8 is Enough? Like, I thought this was David Bradley, the oldest brother from 8 is Enough. It's not, but he kind of looks that way. I can't figure out if this guy, because I'm not gay, I can't figure out if this guy is just really handsome or really weird looking. Chat room ladies or chat room homosexuals, tell me, is this guy with it? Look, overlook the sweater and the fashion because that's all timely. I can't tell if this guy is just really ruggedly handsome or if he's really weird looking. So, ladies,
Slang
please tell me.
changes rather quickly, so if you want to use any of these phrases, you better use them in a hurry. I mean, think of Bart Simpson. Cowabunga is dreadfully out of date, hardly out of style, and you don't want to appear bizotic, do you?
Bizotic? Was that like a kicker? Is bizotic a word? Okay, I think you can all agree with me, right? Chat room. I don't know what any of that means. Here we go. Okay, so Adam, this is interesting. Do they mean Deborah Norvold? Well, this was I think it was 1989 or 1990. These were words for the 90s from 1989 or something like that. I could see Adam very smart. Like I could see where Adam would go. Does that because Deborah Norvold kind of got Norvold when she went to the Today Show and replaced Jane Pauley. There was like a whole thing. But Adam, I don't know. Did that happen? Did that happen before 1990 or did that happen like in the 90s? I don't know. You might be onto something. That might be where that comes from. Although pretty quick turnaround on that word, right? Because I can't imagine that Deborah Norville had the whole Today Show thing much before 1990. If it was before 1990, I don't know. Anyway, Barney calls him a Hasselhoff impersonator. I don't know. All right, here we go. Maddie, there's a girl. She's saying, I guess he'd be handsome if he had a different haircut, but all right, but I told you overlook that. That's, I'm just trying to, all right, you know what? I just realized something. He's a white guy, so I can say this. He looks like a monkey. He looks like a monkey to me. I'm sorry. He looks like couldn't say. Isn't that weird? That is, in fact, itself racist. That I can't say it if it was a black guy, if I genuinely thought he looked like a monkey, because that would mean that I think all black guys look like monkeys. Well, I think this white guy looks like a monkey, and I sure as shit don't think every white guy looks like a monkey. So what the hell? Anyway, he looks kind of like a monkey to me. Maddie adds on to her. Maddie's it's working. Maddie suddenly, she's like, okay, I'd kind of do him. Although in the 90s, I was a grunge punk rock person, and he wouldn't have been my type. Yeah, I got you. Hippity hoppity, give me the zoppity. There you go. That's the word that they left us with. All right, there's video number 1 in today's 80s tribute, or I don't know, I guess maybe Gen X tribute. That was 80s sayings, slang sayings that I'm telling you are not a real thing. All right, now I want to show you something that's fun. This is pretty cool. This is now, okay, my son won't even look at this. Like, if I said to my son, buddy, come on over here. You want to see something cool? He would glance at it for a second and then he'd go, that's AI slop. I don't pollute my brain with AI slop. His generation, or at least him, he is so radically anti-AI. And I can't blame him. I mean, this is the thing that's going to cause his generation to never have work. But he is really, really anti-AI. So this is an AI thing. And I thought it was fun because it kind of fit the theme of Gen X stuff. But it imagines What if the Avenger movies that blow up the box office the past 20 years, what if those Avenger movies had been made in the 1990s? Certainly wouldn't be Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. and people like that in those roles. No, this supposes what would those films look like were they made in the 1980s. And I thought it was fun. So here, let's watch this. We'll pick them apart one at a time. First of all, this one right out of the box, Sylvester Stallone is Tony Stark. Remember, it's 1985 and you are hiring the biggest stars. I don't love it. I do not love Sylvester Stallone as Tony Stark. I feel like there is a better Dustin Hoffman. Let's make Dustin, because Tony Stark isn't supposed to be ripped and a badass, right? Tony Stark is just supposed to be a regular guy who's super smart, who relies on technology and stuff. But he himself, he's not Stallone. All right, anyway, here we go. Let's watch this. The Avengers, if it were made in the 80s. Nope, can't have that music. Let's kill that. Here, all right. Sylvester Stallone is Tony Stark. All right. Kurt Russell as Captain America or Steve Rogers. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. Okay. Stupid hat. Michelle Pfeiffer as Natasha Romanoff. Now, who plays her in the current? Is it Scarlett Johansson? Right? Okay. All right. There you go. That's it. That's right. This is the Scarlett Johansson role. So Michelle Pfeiffer as Natasha Romanoff. Hot. She was so 80s hot. Clint Eastwood is Nick Fury. Stands to reason because they wouldn't cast a black guy. That's Samuel L. Jackson's role in 2020's Avengers universe. But back then, there was like only one black guy working, Sidney Poitier, and he probably was, or James Earl Jones, and they were busy. So you got to cast a white guy. Nick Fury stays consistent with the cartoon, the actual comic book. He's a white guy. Not bad casting. Clint Eastwood. All right. Dolph Lundgren as Thor is just stupid because Dolph Lundgren wasn't a big movie star the way Chris Hemsworth was or is. Chris Hemsworth is a real actor. He does other things, and he just happens to be Thor. Dolph Lundgren was never a box office leading man A-lister. He was sort of a curiosity who first came to us in a Rocky movie and then made a bunch of low-budget karate movies and medieval themed shit, right? So I don't like this one. I don't think Dolph Lundgren is the best choice as Thor. He's not famous enough. He's not nearly as famous as Sylvester Stallone or Kurt Russell. He's just... This one I love. Pierce Brosnan, Remington Steele as Doctor Strange. Why do I love this? Because Doctor Strange is, if I'm being honest, he's my favorite of all of the Marvel guys. I love Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. I just think he's funny, and I think that Pierce Brosnan could do it really good too. All right. Pierce Brosnan is Doctor Strange. There's the black guy. Look at that. Well, they had to find a way to shoehorn Black Panther into here, and I guess they couldn't use James Earl Jones or Sidney Poitier for that. I guess Denzel Washington probably hadn't broken yet, so we go with Carl Weathers. There you go. No brainer. Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed as T'Challa the Black Panther. All right. What else we got? I dig this. I dig Demi Moore as Wanda Maximoff. This is hot. Of course, Wanda Maximoff is played by Elizabeth Olsen, right? Wanda. Woo! This is good casting. I like it. God, she was beautiful. Loki? Gary Oldman? Man, he would be good as Loki. And this one, Michael J. Fox as Spider-Man. This is perfect. Peter Parker, played by Michael J. Fox. I like it. Probably wouldn't have seen this movie because the special effects wouldn't have drawn me in. But okay, there you have it. That is the Avengers. If it was made in the 1980s, how fun is that? Okay. The last thing that I want to show you here in the 3 videos, also sort of a throwback theme. I guess it's not exclusively 80s, but it is kind of throwback to 80s and 90s. We're going to watch a commercial. I saw this commercial last night during the White Sox game, and I wasn't really paying attention to it because I tend to tune out during commercials, but my son is watching it, and he said, "Oh, wow, that's really Mike Myers." And I looked up, and I saw this new Verizon commercial. Have you seen this yet? This new Verizon. I don't know how much this commercial cost, But this commercial must cost a lot of money because they reunited the cast of Austin Powers. Dr. Evil. You got Mike Myers playing Dr. Evil. You got Seth Green playing Scott. You've got the woman who played, Hair or whatever, the mean old lady. And then you got Rob Lowe. I mean, this is a big ticket commercial, and I thought it was pretty funny. And it had to have been a massive big ticket commercial because Mike Myers doesn't do shit. The money had to be so good that Mike Myers was like, all right, I'll put the outfit back on because Mike Myers is pretty okay as far as financial, goes, and he doesn't do stupid shit. Mike Myers doesn't just come out and do shit. So I got to imagine that there was a huge check cut to get Mike Myers to come back and play Dr. Evil for a new Verizon commercial. Here it is. Watch it. I know we're watching commercial. It's a good commercial. It's a commercial that's worth our time. Here we go. Do we have the sound? Let's pull the sound up. Look at that. Is that Dr. Evil's lair? I guess that would be. Yep. Dr. Evil's lair.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to unveil my newest evil organization. I shall call it...
Looks old, doesn't he? He does look older. It's like, I know he's wearing the makeup, but that is definitely an aging Mike Myers.
Menace Mobile. We'll have the most confusing pricing and plans of all time.
Dr. Evil, it's genius.
Sucks. Scott, something you'd like to add?
Yeah, this isn't evil. This is just typical phone company stuff.
Hama what?
It's literally what everyone already hates.
No, Scott. You're literally what everyone hates.
You're
Hate
not.
the game, not the player.
What are you even talking about?
Haters gonna hate.
You just.
Hey, Gaspery.
This is.
My hate's after you.
That doesn't even make
My
sense.
favorite country, Haiti.
Whatever. Diabolical phone companies are why we're all switching to Verizon.
I thought Verizon was just like the rest of the wireless organizations.
Well, they were, but not anymore. They just got rid of activation and upgrade fees. They're changing everything.
Frau, you switching?
Yes, Doctor. I get cash back every month.
Bring in the Verizon dollars for everyone!
You too, number 2?
It's true, Dr. Evil. Verizon's new plan is simpler than ever before.
First couple of times I watched this, I was like, that's not Rob Lowe. Like, I thought that they just got a guy who kind of looked like Rob Lowe and then, maybe had a similar sounding voice to Rob Lowe. But I'm looking at this guy and I'm going, this is not Rob Lowe. So I actually looked into it and it is, in fact, Rob Lowe. Holy shit, does Rob Lowe look old? For the first time ever, Rob Lowe is starting to look like a man in his 60s.
There's just one plan and one price. They even call it the Simplicity Plan.
Who are you talking to?
Nobody.
Look, the point is nobody wants to join your stupid phone service. We're with Verizon now.
So you're all choosing Verizon, That's cool. Totes my goats, all good. Just one more thing. This organization does not tolerate traitors. Prepare to die!
Goodbye, activation and upgrade fees.
All right, there you go. That's the new Verizon. I thought that was an interesting commercial because, man, I'm watching, I'm going, how much did this commercial cost? How much? And that's kind of what well, I'm a big fan of advertising, but most people are not. I'm a fan of creative advertising. And I think that that's what we're being forced into now. They have way too many ways to skip through commercials, skip over commercials, right? YouTube, everything we watch on YouTube, they give us like 15 seconds of commercial and then we can skip it. So how do you get around that? How do you, as somebody who is trying to promote a product, how do you cut through that? Well, you got to make it compelling. You got to make the content something that people are going to want to watch. And like I said, I saw that it was last night during the White Sox game was the first time I saw it. And then last night I saw it again when I was watching YouTube. And instead of just hitting skip immediately, because I hadn't paid close attention to it when I was watching it during the White Sox game yesterday. So when I saw it last night on my laptop, when it popped up on YouTube, I didn't hit skip. I stayed and I watched it. Nor any other product, I'd have gotten rid of it, but it was clever. It was interesting. And I'm like, how much did they have to pay Mike Myers to get him to come out and do this? Because that guy doesn't do anything anymore. It's why you never see him. All right, that's 3 videos for today. We're going to round things up the way we round things out We'll round things up. Hey, there you go. Drop a little something in the Cash App, and the Cash App will round it up for me. That's right. I got roundups on my Cash App. Can't beat fun at the old ballpark. It's the last thing I do every day here. It's a little something that I like to promote the greatness of America's game, baseball, right? Okay, so I'll focus on maybe a piece of video that we found from a Little League game, a minor league game, a College World Series game, something happening in the stands, something happening in the dugout. Whatever it is, if it falls under the banner of baseball, we show it here. Can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Today, got a real special one for you. This one makes me feel good. I like this one. I like this one because it seems so genuine. Even though the first time I watched it, I went, is that real? But then it turns out it is very real. It's just the imagery is a little bit strange. Here. Let me pull this up for you. Let me make sure I got it. Oh, no, not that. Well, okay, leave that anyway. All right. This is a little throwback. All right. This goes back to a time when a gentleman by the name of Ichiro Suzuki was playing baseball. Now, many of you have probably forgotten that name, but not us baseball folk. Ichiro was one of the most spectacular players that I've ever seen. I don't know, a will to win, the slap hitting. He came into Major League Baseball utilizing a technique that hadn't been used since the dead ball era, and somehow he became like a career 350 hitter with it. Ichiro Suzuki opened the door, the floodgates for all these Japanese players that we see now. The first one through had to be better than the rest, and Ichiro is absolutely one of the best baseball players of my lifetime. A superstar, certainly in Seattle. This is where we go. A home game in Seattle back from when Ichiro was playing, and this is the cutest damn thing. Ichiro has to go into the stands to catch a foul ball or something. And while he reaches into the stands, he accidentally bumps into a girl who is, attending. This girl's reaction to having that close of a run-in with Ichiro is just, well, it personifies can't beat fun at the old ballpark. So once again, I don't know what year we're going back to here, but this is really cute. This is a positive one. And the announcers too. The announcers love it. The announcers kind of make this.
Young fan cover.
Here we go. All right, watch this. Here we go. Here is Ichiro. Look at him. Oh, look at young Ichiro. So I saw Ichiro, not in real life, but I saw him when the White Sox played the Mariners a couple of weeks ago. Ichiro is still a batting instructor for the Mariners. He's just hanging out. He's like one of their greatest icons. And that's something because they've had Randy Johnson and Ken Griffey Jr. They've got a lot of icons, but Ichiro is definitely one of them. So he's still a part of the organization, and he's I don't know, friendly or has some kind of history with Munetaka Murakami of the White Sox. So there was a whole lot of I saw a whole lot of Ichiro hanging out with Mooney in the outfield and joking around. Ichiro looks so old. Well, that's what happens. Ichiro looks like, when you watch Band of Brothers and they talk to like World War II kamikaze pilots and they're like, this little guy. That's what Ichiro looks like now. Anyway, here's Ichiro from back in the day. Watch this interaction with a fan and watch the fan. It's wonderful.
Cover a lot of ground.
Oh, she got some glove.
Young fan down there. Very excited. She almost came away with the baseball, and she's getting ready to get on her cell phone to tell everybody what just took place.
Ichiro.
She can't believe that she came that close to Ichiro and that he actually acknowledged her.
Cover a lot of ground.
Oh, she got some glove.
Young fan down there. Very excited. She almost came away.
Did you see Ichiro with her leg? Did Ichiro grab a little? Let's watch that. I don't know. Insignificant? Or is he a rapist?
Young fan down
right there. Look.
There.
Look at him. Puts his hand on her leg, and then he drags his hand down her leg. She, however, instinctively says, oh, no, Ichi, keep your hand there. She would go home with him. I think she's old enough, right? She seems like maybe a 20-year-old or something. I don't know. Anyway, this is a moment right here. And she is just a puddle. Ichiro, definitely. Let's watch that again.
Oh.
And think Ichiro's hand is a little bit lechy.
She got some glove.
Young fan down there.
Boom. Oh.
Very excited. She almost came away with the baseball, and she's getting ready to get on her cell phone to tell everybody what just took place.
Ichiro touched her with his glove, and she is freaking out. This is hysterical.
All right, there you have it. Isn't that cute? There you go. That personifies Can't Beat Fun at the Old Ballpark. I promise you that was the most fun that she'd had in quite some time. All right, guys, thank you so much for being with us. One more time, I want to thank the people who have helped us on this Pledge Week. We do this show. We try to present a alternative form of talk radio, one that isn't completely anchored in divisive politics of any one way or the other. Just regular people getting together, not particularly schooled in any one area, but certainly professors of the College of Life. That's what we do every day at noon. And you people make it possible. Thank you to Leslie C. These are our Pledge Week heroes. I hope to add names tomorrow. Thank you to Leslie C., Tracy D., Peter, Barney 2 times, Mama B, Heidi, thank you, Peter again, and of course, April. Those are the people who supported this show this Pledge Month. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you. As I said, I hope we can add more names to that. Just drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App, because we are a good $170-something away from making our goal for this month. So help out in any way that you can. Cash App or Venmo, it's open 24 hours. I'm closing down right now, but we'll be back here tomorrow, noonish. Like, follow, subscribe, do all of those things. But mostly, what do I ask of you? Stay neighborly. All right, hold on. I gotta come back because I was just genuinely made to laugh. Barney with possibly the best line in the chat room today. Yes, there are surprisingly few old kamikaze pilots left. You know what I meant though? Like, you're watching Band of Brothers and they're talking to some Japanese guy who, I don't know, maybe lived in a hut on Midway until 1960 because he didn't know the war was over. That's what I was doing. But you are absolutely right. Thank you, Barney. That's funny. There are surprisingly few kamikaze pilots left. Okay, now we're done. Bye, everybody.